What's going on, everybody? John out here with you. I'm going to be joined by Cooper Hopkins momentarily. We are going to call the Calgary Flames and the Tampa Bay Lightning. So let me go ahead and get you lineup set for tonight for the Calgary Flames. It's Elias Lindholm, Adam Ruzicka, Tyler Toffoli with Noah Hannafin and Rasmus Anderson. Nazem Kadri, Milan Lucic with Andrew Mangiapane, Mackenzie Weegar, and Christopher Tannen. It's Michael Backlund, Jonathan Huberdeau, and Trevor Lewis. And then Dylan Dubé, Blake Coleman, and Brett Ritchie with Nikita Zadorov and Dennis Gilbert. Jacob Markstrom will be in goal. And for the Tampa Bay Lightning, it sounds like this: Braden Point, Brandon Hagel, Nikita Kucherov, with Victor Hedman and Ian Cole. It's Nick Paul, Steven Stamkos, Alex Killorn with Mikhail Sergachev and Nicholas Perbix. Vlad Nemestikov with Ross Colton and Corey Perry, and Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, Pat Maroon, and Cole Koepke with Hayden Fleury and Philip Myers in the back end. And the big cat, Andrei Vasilevsky, will be in goal. When we get back in, I will start the complete game with Cooper Hopkins and myself, but I just want to give you the starting lineups. Calgary Flames are 7-6-2 on the season, 5th in the Pacific. Tampa Bay Lightning also trying to get back into form here, 9-6-1, 4th in the Atlantic. Should be a good matchup.
I'm looking for someone who will let loose, dress up well, see a show, order the steak and the lobster. Some people say I'm excessive. Who cares? I just want to enjoy some late nights. And some very big checkouts. Think you can keep up?
It was a night at the Home Depot, at every location. A night when our stores see a grand transformation. We bring out the tools you need, like snowmen, streamlights, and plenty of trees. We work through the night preparing our splendor for Black Friday savings all through November. And what you do next is always fantastic, because we have the tools to make your holiday magic. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Buckle up, NBA fans, because the best to ever do it are back. Legends of the game return to the court to rewrite the history books.
So Hunter Grant had 5 goals and $1 million in the left body as the Indians offer a special ceremony ahead tonight for hockey fights cancer, including both teams.
This evening, the Lightning are proud to partner with the National Hockey League on its annual Hockey Fights Cancer Night as we celebrate the strength and spirit of survivors and fighters and continue to help raise awareness and funds to one day eradicate this disease completely. On the ice, the Calgary Flames and our Tampa Bay Lightning are holding I Fight For in memory of and survivor gardens to honor their individual cancer heroes and causes. At center ice, please welcome inspirational cancer survivors and patients, each representing one of the 14 Tampa Bay area hospitals, treatment facilities, and nonprofit organizations joining us tonight as our special guests. And now, we kindly ask that you stand with us as we pause to remember those whose lives have been claimed by this terrible disease. Let us honor them now with a moment.
Yes, indeed, hockey fans. The man has arrived. John Ott is in the building. John, I'm going to add you into this broadcast here as we're just getting started for this contest between the Calgary Flames and the Tampa Bay Lightning. So let me press the right buttons here and get you involved. You should see an invitation come in there shortly. And to all of our listeners who jump onto this broadcast at any point, we're here at Amalie Arena in Tampa Bay, where the Calgary Flames are starting off a 6-game road trip visiting their rivals from 2004, the Tampa Bay Lightning. So this season so far, the Calgary Flames are 16 points, and the Lightning won their most recent game in overtime, bringing their record to 9-6-1 for a total of 19 points. So it should be a very spirited contest, and we'll see if we get shades of 2004, John. I'm certainly hoping that the Flames can turn the tide and get a victory tonight. What are you expecting, my friend? It's good to have you along.
It is good to be here, and it's a big game for both teams. Calgary is coming off a couple of wins there, Cooper. Though it's been a couple nail-biters with a 3-2 and a 6-5. Tampa Bay is also rounding into form. But of note of the Tampa Bay Lightning injuries, just make note of this here. On the back end side, no Pogosian, no Chernak, and no Foot. So maybe that's where the Calgary Flames can take advantage of the Lightning tonight.
Yeah, that's it's really smart of you to mention that early on here, John. Blue line is going to be a soft spot, you would think, with those injuries for Tampa Bay. But when you have someone firing like Nikita Kucherov, who already has 23 points on the season and became, along with Lemieux and Gretzky, just the second player in NHL history. He scored 30 points or more in 2 consecutive playoff seasons. That was 20 and 21. So Nikita, you have to be thinking is going to be firing on all cylinders tonight, as he has been really since the start of the year.
Yeah, 23 points, 7 goals, 16 assists. And Stamkos, I believe, is also very close to a milestone, although he will not get it in this game. Isn't he close to 1,000 points and 500 goals?
I think so. I think the silver stick is being minted for him as we speak, because that's a guarantee. He will get to that 1,000 mark for sure.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot of firepower here tonight. And again, I noticed from a couple of games ago that John Cooper wasn't too happy with the squad with some of the other things, but I think the 5-4 win against the Dallas Stars will perk them right up, because Dallas is still hanging in the hunt in the West. And Tampa, in all honesty, I know they have that high standard that most teams, let's be honest, attest to get to. That's where they want to be. And that's what you have to do sometimes, especially with the injuries in the back end. Hey, they brought in Rudolph Balcers to try to go ahead and get some depth, although he's inactive tonight. And Cooper, we get a chance to see a name that we missed throughout the playoffs when we covered it a lot, Braden Point.
Absolutely. Braden Point, of course, a Calgary native. He has been very strong so far. 16 points with 6 goals and 10 assists so far this year, and that is good for exactly 1 point per game, as he has played in all 16 so far. 16 to 17. But John, one thing I want to point out here for the Flames is that it doesn't jump off the page, but it's worth noting that Jonathan Huberdeau, he's actually back on the score sheet. So not only is he back on the ice for the Flames after being out for several games with an upper body injury that went really undetailed, pretty much undisclosed what was bothering him, but he's back, and he did score the first goal of the night against the Kings for the Flames. It's not a big sample size for Huberdeau, John, but do you think that we're going to see more from number 10 for the Flames now that he's gotten that scoring touch again?
I think so too, and I have to run this by you because when I was looking at the projected lineups, trying to get ready like 15 minutes before the game, I'm a little professional on my part, but Adam Ruzicka on the first line with Lucic on the second line, and Jonathan Huberdeau is on the third line tonight with Backlund and Lewis.
Yeah, you are correct, and that actually was addressed by some of the Calgary media. Of course, they wouldn't be doing their jobs if they didn't ask head coach Daryl Sutter what the heck's going on with that. They did, probably in a more professional way. But basically, Daryl Sutter's response to that, he can be brash when he's behind the microphone. He essentially just said, you know what, we've tried almost everything else with Jonathan Huberdeau, and we have not tried him on that third line with that combination. And that's why. He just said, everything else, we've given it a shot. It hasn't worked out the way we wanted. And so third line it is. And it resulted in a goal. So we'll see if that streak continues.
So, Cooper, logistically, if we look at this lineup up and down across the board, that makes the Calgary Flames pretty deep on each line, does it not?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think there are still some questions. Certainly there are going to be for Flames fans and media around the continent. If you have a 7-game losing streak like the Flames did, I mean, now they've bounced back. They've won 2 in a row. But it's been a streaky team so far. And I think really what folks are hoping for, those folks that are rooting for the visitors tonight, are going to be looking for consistency, and I don't think they care where it comes from. It doesn't matter if it's the third line or if we continue to see players like Brett Ritchie put the puck in the back of the net, which he's done several times this year, or if we start to see Elias Lindholm and that top line really start to fire. Just consistency across the board. That's what I'm looking to see if the Flames can establish tonight. John, every time we've covered them, and I'll let you touch on this as well, the Flames show their potential. We see how high that ceiling can go. But the Kings game, which they played a couple of nights ago, is another perfect example. They go into the third period, John, leading by 3 goals at 6-3. And what's that final score? I'll just leave it at that.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And again, we have another marquee matchup on another Thursday. It seems to be marquee matchups here for the Flames, and now it's against the Lightning, as you said. And can you afford to have those same old habits pop up against, let's face it, a Tampa Bay Lightning team that's starting to round into form a little bit? I think the answer is no.
No, I agree with you. And you know what? Just one fun note to mention here is the ceremonial puck drop has been completed. The Tampa Bay Lightning are wearing their infamous Storm jerseys with the lightning stripes down the sleeve and that rain across the crest, and the bottom yoke there is the violent waves of the sea. It's a very interesting artistic statement there by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Takes us back to the late 90s. And the Flames, interestingly enough, going to be wearing their home reds tonight while on the road in one corner of the U.S. So we'll see Vasilevsky and Markstrom. And John, we're just a couple moments away from puck drop. You, my friend, I'm going to force you to talk about this at some point. You, my friend, are about to take a big step up in your career, which I hope you'll tell us about later. Or selfishly, just tell me. I can't wait to hear all the details about some play-by-play opportunities for you. So if you feel comfortable, do you want to jump in and take a puck drop here and start us off?
Hey, no problem. If that's what we want to do, let's go for it. So we got 2 goaltenders right now in Markstrom and Vasilevsky. We know that's going to be a primetime matchup, but both of these goalies have sub-900 save percentages. So we'll see how that ends up working right now. And Cooper, I'll be honest with you, as far as these Tampa jerseys, it's going to take some getting used to here. As Perry, 4th line side's out there right now for John Cooper's slot, and Vlad Nemestikov will probe this one forward. Goes back to Perry now. He's going to shoot the long wrister that's blocked aside there by Jacob Markstrom. Picked up now by the Flames as they try to transition, and there's a turnover on the backhand side. Another stop there by Markstrom as he shovels it toward the left side post. And now let's see if the Flames can actually break out of their zone this time. They're going to go right to left across your radio dial in this first period. Backlund, 1-on-4, gets the long shot, rebound, goes right to one of the Lightning here as Vasilevsky makes the pad save and closes the 5-hole. So a couple shots here on both sides for Tampa and Calgary as we're really just underway in the first period. John, I'm here with you on play-by-play, joined by Cooper Hopkins. What a sauce pass across, and what a save there by Markstrom as he was able to stop that one early in this contest. Lucic trying to use that body to pry through, but this falls back to the Lightning in their own end. So good quick start for shots on both sides as there's a race for the puck. Noah Hannafin will get there first. They gave the icing portion of it, and Calgary tried to break out of their own zone as here's Nazem Kadri. Kadri through the forehand. He tried to shoot toward the right side post of the stick side of Vasilevsky as that one just wide. And now Tampa will float this one. It bounces off Sidorov and goes right back to the defensive side. And excuse me if I missed some defensive names here for the Lightning. I'll have the rosters in front of me, but they're missing quite a few players tonight. As Hayden Furry and Philip Myers will be on the third line side. Adam Ruzicka. Cross pass looking for Toffoli as that one goes just wide. This goes back to Elias Lindholm. On the left side faceoff dot is Nick Paul, able to rough up Lindholm a little bit with the help of Sergachev. And now this goes back into the Flames' end with Christopher Tanev. It's Tanev and Zadorov out there right now for Daryl Sutter's squad. It's stuck in between his skates and then picked up by Calgary as they control that breakout there and stop that turnover, although they lose it through the neutral zone. And that's what I want to see for Calgary. Attention to detail on that side. Good move. This is picked up here by Calgary as it's poke checked away and then dumped ahead by Blake Coleman. Into the catching glove of Vasilevsky, we get our first stoppage, 17:37 in.
Yes, we do, John. So 2.5 minutes there, basically, of unbroken scoring opportunities, it felt like. Both teams pretty evenly matched so far, and we're getting a great replay right here. I have Bally Sports feed. It's essentially the Tampa Bay Lightning feed. Nikita Kucherov being checked by Noah Hannafin. He got a shot right on, basically one hand if you put that backhand right through the blue paint. and he almost made it 1-0 Tampa Bay, but we're still tied at nothing so far with a long way to go here. It's an interesting game so far.
So Dylan Dubé is going to win the draw here for Calgary as they'll try to reset this thing in the offensive end, and it gets gloved aside there by Vasilevsky, although there was a rebound, and Lightning will bank this one. The Bakeman side of Rasmus Anderson as he picks it up near the left side D line. And now here's Dubé. Off the backhand, trying to keep this alive in between two different Lightning as Pat Maroon comes together with Brett Ritchie. Picked up now by Noah Hannafin toward the left side of the blue line. And now Hannafin will pass this one from Dubé and pick this one back up as he's in his own end. This goes back as a reset. It's Weegar and Hannafin. Back one is going to be on the right side faceoff dot as Calgary looks to break out right to left across your radio dial. And this is dumped in here. Picked up by the Lightning in their own end is Victor Hedman. This was a backhand that got intercepted by Backlund and went off of the shoulder blade of Vasilevsky. Now the Flames with another opportunity. Gilbert makes the pass across between Tanev. This goes back to Gilbert. See if he puts a shot right on. He does. And this one gets blocked and put down the ice. Or Backlund can recollect to the neutral zone. So the Flames right now, they look pretty good in their first period. Cooper, like they usually do, we'll have to see how this goes along as the game progresses because, as we know, it's always a good start here for Calgary, but not always the best end, although they've won their last couple games against good opponents. A 2-on-2 opportunity. Nice back check there by the Flames to knock that one away. Good shot in the slot. And that one got denied by Markstrom, went up and on a play.
Wow, John, Braden Point showing his speed right there, flying through the left wing and into the Flame zone. He really started an exceptional attack right there, and then the Lightning are able to get a shot right on from distance. That Markstrom turns aside, that puck ends up in the netting. But my goodness, yeah, you're right. These teams are flying so far. There's lots going on, and we're back under the action, as you like to say.
So the defensive zone draw, one there by the Flames. Mackenzie Weegar going to attempt to get this one out. It bounces back on between his skates. The 2-on-1 opportunity. Couple of shots. One goes just wide after the save by Markstrom, but it's still dangerous in behind his cage. Picked up now by Andrew Mangiapane. It's 1-on-3. He's going to chip and chase this off the boards to himself. Drop pass, long wrist shot. That one goes just wide as Lucic was waiting on the doorstep. That could have been an opportunity. Long wrist shot there from the right side blue line. Picked up by the Flames there momentarily, and then the Lightning are able to intercept as this goes near the right side faceoff dot as bodies are just trying to get antiquated to the breakout here for the Lightning before it goes to Noah Hannafin. 4 shots to 3 in favor of the Lightning right now as we're scoreless, 15-20 in the first at Amalie Arena. Adam Ruzicka, 1-4 checker there for the Flames. Hannafin able to keep this one in. It bounces in front of the left faceoff dot. Lindholm tries to drop this off to Ruzicka, and this goes back into the neutral zone. As Ruzicka will get this now. He dumps this in safely across the red line of the neutral zone where you can do that without an icing. And this goes back on the red line side where the Lightning can recollect. Stamkos with the backhand pass. As this is picked up now by Ian Cole. In through with Victor Hedman as Nick Paul tries to pick this up, but Gilbert safely gets this to Tanev, and that was a dangerous pass, but it was safely made as it's 4-on-3 developing here for the Flames. Off the backhand side and off the backhand is Brett Ritchie as he puts this in the right side red line. Nick Paul comes together, try to get intercepted by Ritchie, and the puck bounces off of him into the neutral zone where Gilbert has it now. And so far, what we've seen, Cooper, with Dennis Gilbert is he's not taking his chances when he's got the puck on his stick. He's making the safe play and he's making his change. So that's what you want to see on the third line defense. Dylan Dubé almost had a fall right to him, but a good stick lift there by the Lightning, able to negate that potential dangerous chance. Nikita Zadorov against Philip Myers. Myers ends up winning it momentarily, but good back check there by the Flames in support, able to knock that puck away as they'll dump this into the neutral zone. And some of the other forwards can get a change as they have a couple of collisions there. Here's an opportunity for Huberdeau, and this goes off the glove of Andrei Vasilevsky as he was kind of not streaking in all alone, but he had enough opportunity to shoot a wrister, and Vasilevsky had to make the save. This goes back into the neutral zone, picked up by Backman now, as it seems like Calgary is controlling most of the puck right now early in this contest, 13:30 in. Good pass on side for Jonathan Huberdeau. And Backlund will try to leave this here for Huberdeau, who's sitting on the third line nowadays. And again, we'll probably talk about that a little bit more as we go in through the first intermission as Calgary is continuing to try to find momentum after a couple straight wins. Hannafin gets a pass across the D-man, and Calgary is going to look to get set to break out here as they still play crisscross. Kadri's out there as well with Mangiapane. Mangiapane has it now, and the shot goes up and on a play. 13:07 in the first. We'll get a commercial break.
Shout out to frequent listener Fernando Espina is on the broadcast with us here. It's Cooper Hopkins and John Ott. Calgary Flames at the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. 13:07 to go in the first. No score so far, Ferdy. I know you're a big fan of both of these teams. Just kidding. You're probably reading a comic book right now. So John Ott and I have plenty to cover tonight, as he was talking about. John, I just want to say so far, a couple of things that have stood out to me are the play of Andrew Mangiapane. He's looked very sharp. I've also liked Adam Zichka. He hasn't had a ton of ice time yet. Obviously, we're just 7 minutes in. But he's a big body on that left side, and he's made a couple opportunities out of nothing for the Flames in their offensive zone. So that bodes well for the rest of this contest. Also, definitely, we have to keep an eye on Braden Point. Looks like he is at full speed tonight. Those skates are moving, so going to be dangerous flying in toward Jacob Markstrom. One other thing to note on the not so positive side for the Flames, John, you and I have seen this a couple of times in broadcasts previously. Flames with turnovers in their own end for some reason along that right wall, right near their own bench. I'm not sure if it's a breakout play that they're trying to very deliberately get underway or that they're trying to establish, but it doesn't seem to be working. There have been two, including one that led to a direct scoring opportunity. So keep your eyes peeled for that as you continue on the play-by-play. And speaking of which, I'm going to set you up right here because I can't go any further in this game without knowing what's going on in Hockey Town. Tell me a little bit. What's this opportunity you have to do some play-by-play stuff?
So
what you got?
I knew a player, somebody through high school that ended up asking me for a local semi-pro hockey rink team here. So I'm going to be doing some broadcasting for the Waterford, Michigan Sharks, taking on the Muskegon Voyagers on Saturday. This will be my first time to do some play-by-play and maybe some TV work. So I'll be on the local broadcasting for TV.
My good man. First of all, congratulations. And listen, I'm not sure. I'm all the way out here in Los Angeles. If there is a way, I don't care if it's online or if there's some way for me to tune in, you better believe I'm tuning in. But I'm proud of you, man. It's been great working together, and you certainly have the pedigree to do this at the highest level. So I hope this is a step, and it certainly is a step in the right direction for you. But for now, you have to put up with me as I step on your toes, and Mangiapane gets a shot off that's held by Vasilevsky, and I'll hand the play-by-play back to you, John.
No, make no mistake about it. This is where I want to be, and I'll make a little mention of that when we get in the first intermission. So it won't just be about all that, because we got a lot of stuff to cover here tonight, including this terrific game that we have right now between the Flames and the Tampa Bay Lightning. So it's 5-4 now in favor of the Flames, although we're still scoreless, as Braden Point's going to get kicked out of the draw. So we'll see who comes in here to face Nazem Kadri. So 13:03 left to go in this scoreless first period right now. John here with you on play-by-play, joined by Cooper Hopkins. And again, we are going to be switching off. So now it's Lucic, and the draw is Kadri. Gets kicked out, and Lucic wins the draw. That's always fun, as Nikita Zadorov immediately gets the wrist shot. Maybe let's go back to Lucic here, Cooper.
My goodness, John, it seems like number 17 for the Flames, Milan Lucic, has been the Swiss Army knife for Daryl Sutter this year, the bench boss for Calgary. That's a nice opportunity right there. He gets a clean win, and then Nikita Zadorov, the big defenseman, fires one right on. And that's something I expect to see. The Flames are a shoot-first team, so look for them to keep firing as they have possession right now.
A couple opportunities as they fired again immediately off the faceoff when it was blocked aside there by Vasilevsky, immediately played. And now Calgary is going to ice this one, so we'll get another stoppage with 12:44 in the first.
Okay, John, so the question is, have you gotten used to these alternate uniforms for Tampa Bay yet? The classic Storm unis from the 90s. I mean, it takes me back to playing like EA Sports NHL 99 on my favorite PC. I feel like I'm watching a video game.
I'm going to be honest with you and say no. It's going to take the entire game before I even figure it. Even the font and everything else is different. It's hard to pick up the players sometimes.
I don't think anybody can blame you.
No. So a good defensive face-off win here by the Calgary Flames as they look to break out. Here's Lucic holding off the wrister. Good shot, scores! Milan Lucic gives the Flames the lead.
My goodness, John, we are officially in the action now. Just about 7.5 minutes in, Milan Lucic sporting a brand new goatee. Apparently has a new scoring touch as well. He just takes a nice stretch pass, comes to the neutral zone, just coasts, John. Coasts through the offensive zone, gets the D-man down on both knees, and fires a wrister off of the right pad, deflected into the goal off of Vasilevsky's right calf, and it's 1-0 Calgary. Milan Lucic.
Who says Lucic can't play on the second line? I love the way you described that there, Cooper, because it was a heat-seeking missile as he just, took his time, took a shot, picked the corner, and scored the goal. I like that. Good scoring touch. As John Cooper immediately called his players over, and he had some things to say. He was none too pleased.
Yep, I saw that clip as well. Milan Lucic with the scoring touch there. You see that one mark on his tape stick. The white tape just has that little extra black mark from the puck, and we're going to take a look here. Looks like John Cooper is trying to see if there was an offside, and we are getting the result right now, John. It looks like it's going to be no goal. My goodness.
Man, oh man. I guess that doesn't negate the strong effort there from Milan Lucic. Flames fans be a little disappointed, but honestly, so am I. Even from the side of even just being your friend and all. I thought that was a great look there from Lucic. Again, the offsides can riddle you, but that's the new NHL now, Cooper, and that was awfully close.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how the Flames respond here. And Daryl Sutter can be as frustrated as he wants to be. That was a clear offside by about 8 inches or so. That was Nazem Kadri. So the action is resumed here. Let John Ott take over on the play-by-play as the Flames have it in their ozone.
So we'll see if the Flames can bounce back there from a pretty good first period right now. But again, it's back to being scoreless as that Lucic goal comes off the board. This goes back down in the zone. It's going to be a race for the puck now between Paul and Hanifin. Again, it's good to see Nicholas Paul out there as well. Since coming over from the Ottawa Senators and in the playoff portion of it, he's been really good. And I get to see Braden Point as well. A couple bodies that weren't always there. Turnover there in front, and immediately, that is not what you want. Stamkos scores. So a goal that was given and taken away, and now Steven Stamkos gives the Lightning the lead.
Well, John, that's what happens sometimes in situations like this. It can be very distracting after a beautiful shot and what seemed to be the first goal of the game by Milan Lucic. A little bit of a bad bounce here, but also credit needs to be given where it's due. A sort of an inadvertent stick lift right there, and then a back pass. Chris Tanev, who's by far the Flames' best defenseman so far this year, he's so defensively responsible. But Stamkos holds just long enough to get Tanev down on the ice, and he fires a wrister beautifully underneath the glove of Jacob Markstrom, lifts his stick to the sky, and all of a sudden, it's a 2-goal swing. Should have been 1-0, could have been 1-1 with that. But with the goal taken off the board for the Flames, John, it is 1-0 home squad, the Lightning lead.
Cooper, I got to say, Stamkos made that wrist shot and that goal look way too silky. That was way too easy for somebody like him, man. So this goes back down the ice and immediately iced, and it's going to be Calgary offensive zone possession.
Yeah, and listen, this is a narrative that it doesn't matter if it's hockey, baseball, football, basketball, tennis, pick a sport. When you have something go the opposite of your expectation, that's the time when often you're most vulnerable. That was what we just saw with Steven Stamkos scoring his 9th goal of the season. Now the Flames, who have met a lot of challenges this year and not always been up to the task, they have to respond. Let's see if they can get one back here in this first period.
So Calgary able to get another offensive zone draw and create some possession. We'll see if they can end up getting the goal, as Cooper said, because I think they need to respond. You want to go into this locker room at least tied, I think, considering the effort that you made. But now here's an opportunity for the Lightning. Good cancel off with the body there by Noah Hanifin, but it's still trouble. And behind the offensive Markstrom, this is picked up now near the right side red line. Again, Stamkos with his 9th of the season at 8:03, assisted by Sergachev with his 12th dime, and Nick Paul with his first. So heavy production there for Sergachev per usual, and that's why they signed him to that 6-year extension that Cooper and I talked about back when we did our trade deadline show, as this is picked up now by the Flames. Dubé tries to get a piece of it, and this goes back here toward Paul as he skates backwards nicely into the chip-in with Vlad Nemestikov trying to bother Uyghur. Wins it there momentarily, but we got a hand in the air.
We do have a hand in the air. I actually thought that was an icing call that was coming late. But, John, do we have a penalty here, or is it just the ice from the Lightning?
I'm going to go ahead and take a look myself. That could just be an ice. And Steven Stamkos, 990, 96 in the NHL points. Am I reading that correctly already?
Yep, I think you are correct. I mean, what a career. He still has so much to offer. It's just an impressive line for that forward for Tampa Bay. Beautiful stuff.
So Dylan Dubé can't win this one as it was iced and now picked up now by the Lightning. So Perry will get this one down. As Markstrom looks on, this is near the left side post. He's going to have to make this save. He's behind him. And the Tampa Bay Lightning think they score, and now we have some punches thrown. And now we have bodies everywhere. As it's Cole, it's Perry, it's Majapani. Everybody comes together as the net was knocked off, and we'll see what comes of this.
Yeah, John, no surprise to see Corey Perry, the pest, if ever there was one, and a skilled one at that. He's in the mix right there. Basically every skater in Markstrom's crease there. And here's what I was about to say next time we had a break, and here's our break, so I'll say it now. John, very dangerous the way the Flames are starting to play this game. You see them turning up the physicality, which on the surface you'd think would be a positive. But right there, it was a 2-on-1, two Flames defenders, a skater and a defender, that was Dubé and I believe Zadorov, trying to check a Lightning forward against the glass, basically leaving another Lightning man wide open coming through the high slot. That led to the scrum and the scoring opportunity. The Flames cannot try to go too physical here. They need to play their game, break out of their own zone, and create scoring opportunities, John. We have to see that happen, or else this could be a badly tilted game for the Lightning.
No, I absolutely agree with you, because you want to talk about a team that bleeds right into physicality. How about Tampa Bay? That's the game that they like to play on top of all the skills, so I couldn't agree anymore. This is one to the neutral zone, picked up by Majapani off the backhand. And Vasilevsky, Big Cat, will come out to play this one. It seems like a little bit since he's been tested consistently, and it just feels that way over the last few minutes because Tampa's had a pace of play. A chance for Lucic, who tried to wrap that one around as it got knocked aside there by Nazem Kadri and played back to the defense. So Milan Lucic, I've liked the effort so far, even though the goal has been casted away as we've hit the halfway marker. And it's going to be iced just before the halfway marker, 10:01.
Boy, a little bit of everything, as we were saying earlier from Milan Lucic. You described his wraparound attempt, or kind of a turnaround shot attempt, really beautifully. I love that he's so physical. He's so strong. He makes a shot attempt, ends up inadvertently checking the man who's checking him. He puts a Lightning defender down on his backside, just trying to get a shot off. So maybe Milan Lucic can get back on the scoreboard. He certainly deserves to be there, if not for really a technicality. Just a few inches offside was Nazem Kadri. And Kadri is on the faceoff dot now, ready to take this puck drop, and I'll let you get back to it, John.
Now that I get back to the actual play-by-play, that lightning bolt across the arms there for the Tampa jerseys are very distracting. I do not like these alternates, but I'll try not to say that too many more times, as this is picked up now by the Lightning. Stamkos, he's the lone goal scorer right now. Good pass there to Paul as Paul tries to skate between his legs and handle. Picked up now by the Lightning. Sergachev makes the man miss into Toffoli. He's still got it now as the Lightning look all of a sudden very dangerous. Stick lifted by Toffoli does miss as this is wrapped in around the office there of Markstrom. And a good battle by Alex Killorn and Rasmus Andersson in front of the net as the transition now. And this gets dumped down the ice. Elias Lindholm going to momentarily win this battle. Vasilevsky just able to move that puck aside just before it hit one of the Flames forwards. And now this goes back to Nikita Zadorov as they play crisscross with Hanifin. Lindholm will get this down deep, and the Big Cat will go back to play this one. Alex Killorn needs some help in behind his office right now as this gets turned over nicely by the Flames, but they need some back-end support. The defenders aren't looking to pinch right now for the Flames, as this is one on the forward side by Lewis. He's going to wrap this around the kick plate. Zadorov with the stick lift tries to win this one, but again, the defenders were on a change. Hagel gets this gloved out of the air by one of the Flames. And 8:38 in the first, we get a stoppage.
Yeah, I think we had a hand pass right there. And I have to say, even though Tyler Toffoli has been a difference maker for the Flames recently, and really all this season, he's been asked to do quite a bit, has spent quite a bit of time on the first line. Not the greatest ship for number 73. In red right there as he got turned around pretty badly by a D-man, Mikhail Sergachev.
Yes.
He stepped in, stick handled right around him, and Toffoli looked a little foolish right there, but no damage. It's still 1-0 Tampa Bay, and the Flames hanging on as they've done in a lot of games so far, but they have to tilt things back to their favor, John. Do you have any thoughts on exactly what that they can do to try to get some extended zone time and get some real clean shots off?
I would say maybe go back to the first 5-6 minutes of the play when you thought about it. Just get shots on, win your faceoffs, and do the things that you're supposed to do. But that leaves us with the same questions, Cooper, that we had last week, Because I would say that this game feels just like the Boston Bruins game that we did last week so far.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and the Flames were definitely competitive in that game. They would go on to lose that game. John, remind me, I think it was a 3-1 final with Pasta scoring that empty netter near the end of the contest. Is that right?
It was.
Yeah, and so this does have a feel like that. I mean, mathematically, we're already on that track, and that's the last thing the Flames want. It was nice to see the Flames get what was the opening goal for a few moments. But at this point, do you really want to rely on Milan Lucic again? Not that he can't score. We literally just watched him do it. But I would, once again, this is low-hanging fruit, but I'm going to pick it. I want to see a little bit more from Huberdeau in his limited ice time. He's, again, not on the first line tonight, but he's being featured right now. He's out on this shift for the Flames. So I'd love to see more from number 10. I want to see a little something from Lindholm tonight. And I'd love to see Nazem Kadri. I mean, those are some big names for Calgary. And sometimes you just need a big name to be a big player. That's what it probably is going to have to be against a team like Tampa Bay.
See, I'm wondering with the way that the lines are staggered, or Cooper, whether or not Daryl Sutter is going to find what he sees on the ice and maybe make some adjustments on the fly like good coaches do.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. You've seen enough hockey through the years to know that is very likely, especially with a coach like Daryl Sutter. And the Flames win a faceoff here, and the shot from the right boards is held by Vasilevsky. So sorry, John, taking over play-by-play just for a moment. But Huberdeau's going to stay out there. We'll see if he can make an impact on this shift. Because
that's, again, I just wonder that for the sake of not just speaking out loud, but I mean, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning. If you don't have some of those other top-tier guys against Hagel, Point, Stamkos, you're putting yourself in a world of hurt sometimes, I would say.
Yes, indeed. And right here on the Valley Sports feed, we're getting replays of the Johnny Gaudreau days with Elias Lindholm finding him from behind the net and Gaudreau making no mistake. Gets me a little wistful, John. A little misty and a little dusty in the room, I think. But Johnny Gaudreau having a great season, basically a point per game. And Matthew Tkachuk, who we'll talk about later, more than a point per game for Florida as the Flames have possession in the offensive zone. There's a shot, and it is saved by Vasilevsky. I think it hit a man in front. That was Lewis. John, apparently I have the bug tonight. You're the one's going to be doing semi-pro hockey. I'm stepping all over your toes on the play-by-play call. I got to get out of here.
Huberdeau, that was a good play there between Lewis and Ritchie. It was a good chance for Vasilevsky, and he was on his toes as Vlad Nemestikov was caught busy, not doing too much with the puck, and that turned into a primetime opportunity for the Flames.
Yep, and I thought it was Lewis that may have had that shot from Chris Tanev bounce off one of his legs. It was actually Colton for the Tampa Bay Lightning, caught that shot right in the hand. So we'll have to see if that affects him moving forward.
So picked up now off another face-off win here for the Calgary Flames in their own end as Tampa trying to get this out. As Paul will play this one expertly off the backhand just to an open wing as Tampa Bay Lightning can try to transition left to right across your radio dial. Picked up now by Mackenzie Weegar. Weegar with a quick outlet pass to Kadri. Off the backhand now to Lucic. Lucic will chip this one ahead and try to race against Nicholas Perbix as Perbix loses the puck there between Sergachev. Sergachev will help find it, and this goes back to Nikita Zadorov. Zadorov's going to go ahead and take his change as it's going to be some changes here for Daryl Sutter on the defensive side. It's 7:30 left to go in the first. John on here with you with Cooper Hopkins. A backhand opportunity there for Ritchie between their play-by-play and color respectively, although we're going to be switching off here. 8 shots to 7 in favor of Calgary, but it's a Steven Stamkos lone goal that's given us a 1-0 lead. Lightning have an opportunity off of 3-on-3. Hold it for Braden Point off the backhand. He got worked off nicely there as Hannafin, but now it's a steal. A chance on the short side for Point. Stopped by Markstrom.
Wow, John. Boy, Markstrom has to be credited right there for sticking to his guns. By that, I mean he really held his position. Braden Point walked in off of the right wall, just came in off the half boards, basically through the face-off circle. Noah Hannafin tried to stick check, got nothing but air. And because Markstrom stayed tight to that near post, Point chooses not to pass. He had a teammate right there in the slot. He goes for that shot, and Markstrom stones him. Great job by Jacob Markstrom right there, looking like a true elite goaltender.
And that's what we just talked about in the commercial break of what we've seen keeps repeating there for the Flames. That's a poor turnover there, but Markstrom, being the goalie that he is, bails them out. I think we're going to do this face-off one more time.
Yeah, John, so right now, really a skilled line out there for the Flames trying to match the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's going to be Adam Ruzicka, interestingly, Lindholm out there as well with Toffoli. So let's see if these forwards can get things wrapped up for Calgary.
So try to get picked up now by Ruzicka, wins the faceoff, but dangerously it goes to the Lightning, and now they get puck possession. I think it was Kucherov able to get a piece of that. One of the Lightning players falls down, and Victor Hedman, that could have been a break opportunity, but it just didn't materialize. And now the Lightning can reset with Hagel. Nice pass across, Braden Point, a couple of silky stick handles as Hagel ends up picking up the puck and paying the price near the boards. There's a chance now for Point as he's expertly holding off the backhand, leaving it to his D side, Nikita Kucherov. Passing through the backhand, it's tipped, it's loose in front. It's stopped by Markstrom and now picked up by Tanev. That looked a lot more dangerous than it probably should have been. And now here come the Flames, although it's 2-on-3 with 3 Lightning back. It's Lindholm trying to buy some time. Adam Ruzicka will just calmly put this around the red line now as Weegar ends up getting hit near the boards. Lewis gets this down deep. It's going to be a race for the puck. Won there by Coleman off the backhand as he's trying to work against Belmar. Lightning come together to try to pry this loose with Pat Maroon. And now we have a penalty upcoming against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So Calgary will get the first power play of this contest.
Yeah, that one looked to be inadvertent. That was Mikhail Sergachev wearing the number 98 for the Lightning down in the corner against one of the Flames. Looks like he just gets his stick blade caught up in the skates there and going down, trying to get a look at that. I think it might have been Gilbert for the Flames in the corner. No, make that Elias Lindholm. And Elias Lindholm just gets dragged down, basically, by Sergachev. Didn't seem to be deliberate, but this will be the first power play of the game at the 14-minute mark of the first period with 6 minutes here to play. So an opportunity now for Daryl Sutter's Flames to even this one up, John. This could be a big one.
I want to see how this materializes because Tampa's already missing a lot of Demon and other best ones in the box and Sergachev. So Flames able to keep this one in nicely, and now this is going to get reset here for Rasmus. Rasmus will pick this up now for Nazem Kadri. Extra pass across. Flames almost lose this one as it goes back to Rasmus Anderson in the high slot. Kadri plays crisscross with that. Toffoli, extra pass back to Rasmus Anderson. Shot into the screen. It didn't hit anybody but Lightning players before it ever got to Vasilevsky. And a opportune steal there for Jonathan Huberdeau. So he's still getting that first line power play time, although he's sitting on the third line. So picked up now by Huberdeau. Hits this off the embankment back to Rasmus Anderson. Toward Toffoli. Toward the middle of the circles, looking for a tip deflection. It goes way up out of play. 1:17 left to go in the Flames power play.
Wow, John, really nice job there. Basically to get to double the shift time of that first unit. They do an excellent job, Huberdeau, checking down in the corner, the near corner, keeps the play alive for Calgary, and gets some really sharp passes off it. I felt my muscles twitch a little bit right there as Kadri had a nice tip opportunity that went high.
Another face-off one there. Hannafin gets the shot. They get stick the side there by Vasilevsky and cleared down. 10 shots to 9 in favor of the Lightning. It's a lone Steven Stamkos goal, but Calgary has got the first power play of the contest. They got about half of it left to go here. Huberdeau off the backhand. Mackenzie Weegar makes the pass across. Huberdeau wants in front of the slot. Wasn't able to get to that puck. It looked like it was right next to him, but he just couldn't get a stick on it. And Hannafin has this go back into the neutral zone as Calgary's got about 45 seconds left to work as they'll dump this down there with Andrew Mangiapane. Vasilevsky calmly plays this puck, and Tampa does what they need to do right now, get the puck down as Markstrom will go ahead and play this. Going to leave it here for Noah Hannafin. We'll see if we'll power play quarterback this thing with 30 seconds left to go. Drop pass gets set up now for Tanev, and we'll see if Calgary gets one more right to left breakout as they're down to 20 seconds now. As Calgary's after this dump here, it's taking a little bit longer to get settled in more than they like to. They put this right to Vasilevsky, and I think Tampa is able to get this right down there again. So the last about 40 seconds wasn't much going on there. As there is some changes, we're going to get close to the 4-minute mark of the first. It's 1-0 lead for the Lightning. Toffoli lets it go off the bar! And this gets picked up again by Zadorov as this is rattled around the kick plate. Toffoli just missed the left side of the top post. He's got it now. Back into the Amalie Arena logo and the bolt as this goes back toward the Calgary Flames as Zadorov will pick this one up now. Pass across as this goes in between Hannafin, and this is dumped down the ice again as Vasilevsky will go back and play this one. And one of the Flames, Dylan Dubé, got worked on the side of the corner, but I didn't see what happened there, Cooper.
Yeah, actually, I think Dylan Dubé just blew a tire at the inopportune time. He was he was right there against the end boards and sort of awkwardly slammed into the half boards, basically, or excuse me, the dasher. He doesn't seem to be injured by any stretch, but boy, that looked a little uncomfortable, John, as the Flames did, unfortunately, in the last 25% or so of that power play. However, it was redeemed. And I will say, I think the first 90 seconds of that man advantage was actually really positive.
Yes.
Bump up shifts or two there for the Calgary Flames, and then Tyler Toffoli just cranked up from the high slot, fires on a wrister, and as you called, he rings that one off the crossbar. So very close to tying it, and if Tyler Toffoli's working like that, you'd like to think that he has the opportunity to put one in here before the night is done.
Yeah, and you'd like to think too, if Calgary gets more power play time, that's going to give more opportunity for Jonathan Huberdeau on that top line to get more ice time. Because again, you and I can talk about it, and we'll see how this moves in between period to period here. But Jonathan Huberdeau, I mean, I understand whether or not you get the production on. It seems like I always circle on his name too much unfairly, so I'm going to have to send him some cards and some fruit in the mail here for Christmas. But I think you're going to have to bump this guy up as this game goes along.
Yeah, he's looked really good. I mean, I use this phrase whenever it's appropriate, and it certainly is for Huberdeau right now. Active stick. That's what he did. What he used to keep the power play offensive zone time alive for Calgary there, which resulted in another shot for the Flames. He had a nice pass attempt looking for, I believe, Backlund in the low slot. And that one was just tipped away at the very last second. Otherwise, number 11 for the Flames would have had a great scoring opportunity. We're getting another look right now. We saw him at this incredible shot by Toffoli. Boy, he just rang it off of the corner where the bar meets the post. A beautiful, beautiful laser just above the blocker. And Big Cat was beaten on that one, that's saved by the post.
And the other side, because I have the Sportsnet feed here for today, and they're showing Steven Stamkos on a Zamboni with a small Zamboni with his son. So that was a very cool picture and a side-by-side. So we got some really cool stuff there on both sides. So we're back underneath the play right now, 3:25 left to go in this first. It's a Steven Stamkos lone goal as the Lightning the lead right now, but the Flames trying to get something going. As Huberdeau is back out there again immediately on the third line side. So Huberdeau picked up now by Backlund near the left side dot. Backlund will get this one to Zadorov with a clapper. Is this bounce right in front of Vasilevsky? Zadorov with the active stick will put this in deeper now. As this gets picked up here by the defensive side of the Lightning. A good outlet pass off the sauce to play that one right in stride. Vladimir Mestikov. This shot goes up and on a play off the slap shot.
Yeah, good description, John, on a clapper. That's exactly what Zadorov put on net. It wasn't a full slapper. It certainly wasn't a wrister. Definitely not a snapshot. That was a classic clapper. So no wonder they're calling you up to the semi-pro levels, my friend, because you know exactly what you see, and you call it as you see it. Flames right now looking pretty good. They're not allowing Tampa Bay a ton of extended zone time. So if the Flames can get some more of that for themselves, I like their chances to even this game.
Me too. And I would say Kadri and Point there, another good opportunity here for the Flames as they win yet another draw. They transition into the offensive zone as Noah Hannafin was the actual lone forward there on the side, able to get something big. Here's Kucherov in the middle of the slot as it was set up and then knocked aside there momentarily at the last second. But Perbix will play this one deep here for the Lightning as it looks like the Flames are scrambling a little bit and the shot gets stopped and held there by Markstrom. I think that was much needed.
Yeah, Markstrom coming out high to cut off that angle right there and makes a beautiful stop on Hagel. And boy, I have to say the Flames didn't do a great job of recovering right there. Now listen, when you're down 1-0 on the road against a team like this, Noah Hannafin had to commit. He had to step in as he was the man streaking from his defensive spot, trying to connect that one-time opportunity at the other end of the ice. But he needed to get back a little quicker. Luckily, Markstrom bails out his team.
So picked up now by the Flames again. This is a race for the puck where Tyler Toffoli, he can't win it. It is canceled off by the Lightning D side, but it's dangerous and behind the Big Cat right now near the left side red line. Flames able to keep this alive there momentarily as Sergachev knocks this away just for a moment. Lindholm trying to get to it, but the Lightning will be able to backhand this one and lift it ahead. Nick Paul played nicely as this gets into the neutral zone. We've hit the 2-minute marker. Ruzicka will fan on the puck there a little bit as the Flames end up actually picking this up in the offensive end. It goes back to Toffoli. Good pass there from Ruzicka as this is picked up now by Coleman near the left side faceoff dot. Off the backhand side, Ritchie just tried to aim for that top right corner off the backhand. It would have been a difficult shot on the move, but this goes back to Coleman, fakes the slap pass, and now Gilbert. Gilbert lets it go through the screen, and that one goes just wide, now near the right side faceoff dot, where this is picked up now by Rasmus Andersson off the pass. Andersson will get the clear as the defense can get settled here and maybe take a change. Right now it's Rasmus Andersson and Gilbert on the ice, so they mix the first and third line. Shot goes back here, and Gilbert's going to have to get back on his horse as this goes back to Coleman. $1:10 left to go in the first. Shots are even at 11 before a lone Steven Stamkos goal. There was a Milan Lucic goal that was negated off the offsides there in between Kadri and Lucic, so that's why it's 1-0 Tampa.
And speaking of offside, the Flames on the offside call right there, as the puck must have just cleared back beyond the blue line on the Tampa Bay side. And John, I don't think I'm mistaken here. The Flames are actually looking pretty consistent in their ability to get some ozone time. They have 1 minute and 1 second here. Let's see if they can get one before they head back to the room.
Yeah, this looks a little bit different on the Thursday side. We'll talk about this. The back end of the period has looked much better here for the Flames, and that's usually where they struggle a little bit of recency. So picked up now by the Flames near the right side red line, and now the Lightning will pick this up in their own end. Casual flip down the right side neutral zone toward the red line, and the Flames have another opportunity as the Lightning trying to get set up there. Lucic off the back check. That was Lewis, excuse me, as Lewis tried to keep one going. It was Huberdeau in behind the cage and picked up now by the Lightning. Lightning will flip this one down the ice. It's picked up now by the Flames in their own, and it's 25 seconds left to go in the first. Zadorov will play this one after Michael Backlund. Backlund will get this clear in here as the Lightning will do the same right now. They're just trying to make sure they don't concede anything before going into the dressing room, which would make a lot of sense, and that would kind of really get John Cooper angry as a turnover there in front probably gets Daryl Sutter a little angry as that was an opportunity that was brushed aside. And within the last 5 seconds, it's gotten a little careless here for the Flames as they have another one that gets turned over, but they're going to run out of time before Kucherov can get the wrister off.
You know, John, I didn't notice as these teams are heading to the locker room now with the Lightning leading 1-0. I didn't notice that for about the last 30 seconds of that period, I was holding my breath, and I think I was holding it with reason. I'm not sure what this phenomenon is, John, but a lot of these turnovers by the Flames, one of which came about 20 seconds ago, a lot of these turnovers seem to be when Rasmus Andersson is on the ice. Now, he's committed a couple of those. We covered the Battle of Alberta where he committed one that was taken over by none other than Connor McDavid, who absolutely fired a wrister in and put that game away several weeks ago. But, John, he was not responsible for this turnover. But, again, I can't help but speculate if there's something going on with the Flames. Rasmus Andersson, a little bit more of an offensive-leaning defenseman. He's usually responsible for the breakout. He has some speed. It's just I'm curious if there's something drawn up on the whiteboard in the room that has Rasmus Andersson and his defenseman paired with him moving in a certain way, a certain expectation of a breakout pass. But it's not resulting in the most positive things for the Flames. So, again, I have nothing to base any of these thoughts on, but it's just something that I've noticed, and we'll have to keep an eye on it as the game continues.
No, we do, because again, you and I, it seems like when we do these intermissions, and I love talking with you about all this stuff, but this is something that we've repeated for weeks now, depending on the games that we've done. Whether it's having an offensive defenseman, like you said, and Rasmus Andersson, thinking about the forwards, and maybe they're not comfortable getting their breakouts, like we talked about last week, and it's just too many turnovers and too many inconsistent play that you would expect. There's an open pass in front of you, let's make it. No, let's look for a bomb and get a turnover and then force something else to happen. It just seems to have, Anderson or some of these other forwards not on the same page all the time.
That's true. That's true. We definitely will continue to keep our eyes peeled for that and make comment when necessary. But listen, I don't want to take away everything from Calgary in that first period, and I don't think I'm wearing rose-colored glasses right now. Other than the Stamkos goal, which seemed like a one-off, the Flames really did a pretty decent job of building themselves offensive scoring opportunities. Did they get anything that was fully clean? They missed a breakaway opportunity when Hedman went down, as you called, I think within the last 5 or 6 minutes remaining there of that first period. So there were things that didn't materialize, but I do think that they actually showed some skill and consistency. Those are things that we continue to talk about with the Flames. They need to be able to tap into both of those resources. And they did a better job, I think, in this first period than they have in some games. Certainly during that losing streak. It does remind me of the game against the Bruins that we called not long ago. But, John, where do you think the Flames stand after the first period? Do you think they should be proud of their efforts so far? Or do you think they need a little bit more of a fire lit under them to push them further?
I'm going to go with the fire analogy there, Cooper. I see a game that, just like last week with the Bruins, I have to keep hitting this button, but I would put the Lightning in that same category. Look, I know they haven't gotten off to the same start, and the Bruins are 14-2, but records aside, again, Tampa, I would hold the stew just like Colorado. That's where other teams want to be. The game is right there for the taking, but you cannot have these self-inflicted mistakes that have been repeated week after week after week. Sometimes you just can't overcome that no matter how good the Calgary Flames are. I'll be honest with you. I see the record for Calgary at 5th in the Pacific at 7-6-2, and yet I look at this personnel. Maybe something changes nearing Christmas or something like that. But I still look at this team as a playoff team, whether it's wild card or wherever else. There's too much good personnel to be able to have these same kind of mistakes. And when a game is right there for the taking, like it is tonight, you have to be able to light a fire up underneath yourself. And if you can't do that against teams like this, then where is my confidence level? And where is everybody else's confidence level? You need to be able to get up for games like these.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I like that you didn't pull any punches right there. I think you're right on. And listen, there are already teams that you can start to pencil into playoff spots. You know, there's no use in going through all of them right now, but you can think of some teams. For example, in the East, you have teams like the New Jersey Devils. I mean, what a fantastic turnaround. And barring really a complete collapse, you're going to see them in the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. Also, a team like the Vegas Golden Knights, who are getting back to their winning ways after a down season last year. And so, exactly to your point, you have the Lightning and the Flames, who not only because of the history, of course, every time I get an opportunity, I'm going to reference 2004. What an incredible, magical run for that Jerome McGinley-led Flames team. And then, of course, the former Flame, Martin St. Louis and his squad, taking the cup eventually in 7. But, John, these are two teams that, as you pointed out, legitimately could meet once again and play for the Stanley Cup. But they have to play to that level. The Lightning are starting to head that direction. The Flames are sputtering, but they're on a 2-game, I'm doing air quotes, winning streak. And this is a chance to cement the direction that they're heading. A win tonight, and I'm not talking about an overtime loss, not just getting a point. A win tonight, I think, really does set them in the right direction and trajectory.
And I want to say this, too, for the couple teams that you brought up. With all the stuff that went against the Golden Knights, with all the injuries and things like that, and Jack Eichel, you never really sure up the neck fusion surgery, whether or not Buffalo wanted him to have it, whether or not the Golden Knights go ahead and take that move. There was a lot against them, and they've definitely risen the occasion. And take it a step further, like you said with the Devils, did anyone expect the Devils to do anything this year? Were they waiting one of those teams like, when's the draft going to come? No, they've won 10 in a row. So things like that happen. So I expect Calgary to go out there and make this push. And if they don't over these next few games on the road here against these good teams, look, beating the Kings and beating the Jets, regardless of the result of the third period, things like that, that was a win against two teams that are probably making the playoffs. So continue that same level of play however you can do it. And it's very important. And I want to make this mention too. We're talking about something, and again, I know this is my own team, so I won't try to go ahead and talk about this too much here, Cooper, but the last 4 games, it was the LA Kings here for the Red Wings, and then it was a road trip in the California side between the Ducks, the Sharks, and then they come back and play the Blue Jackets. So I knew that they were going to lose the game against the LA Kings. Figured that was going to happen. They were behind 4-1. They gave up a goal in the first 9 seconds. They put themselves behind the 8 goal, lose 4-3. Then they lost in overtime against the Anaheim Ducks because Tyler Bertuzzi threw a pass toward the backhand side that went to nobody besides Zegras and Strome on a 2-on-0 and a 3-on-3 overtime, and they put Ville Husso out to dry. So that's already 1 loss and 1 overtime loss. If you don't win these next 2 games, the 10:30 game tonight against the Sharks Eastern Time and against Columbus, that could very well put the Red Wings out of the playoff spot. I'm talking about, this is still November. These are certain games that you cannot drop that you have to win, and that comes to my point that we're talking about here between Calgary.
Yeah, no, John. I mean, that's a great facsimile. Thinking about the Red Wings and you go through any team that you're following, right? You could go through the entire schedule,
Yeah.
and circle the games where you have to get at least a point, if not two, depending on the situation. But then there are many things that, of course, we can't predict. As you said, on the positive side for a team like the Devils, my goodness, who would have thought rattling off 10 wins in a row, really looking like one of the strongest teams in the NHL. But for teams like the Flames that had high expectations, have not met them yet, this is a game. You like I'm saying, you go through the weeks, all of these games, all the blood, sweat, and tears these players put into these contests. Now we're starting to get into the meat of the season. We're really into the heat of the season now, and basically it's show me. I was just thinking to myself when you were making your last comments there. I mean, heck, you sound like the lifelong Flames fan. I like this passion coming from you because you're asking them to show you something, and that's what needs to happen. And again, I happen to highlight some of the, as I call them, the big names, right, of the Flames. I don't care where it comes from. Who is going to step into that role? It has been sort of, and a positive is that it's been a shared effort. The goal scoring, the point scoring for the Flames has truly been a team effort. So excellent, that's fantastic. But in those moments when someone has to stand out and stand above the rest, who will it be? And that's what's been tough for the Flames so far. We just don't have that answer yet.
No, we don't. And like you said, I think we both made this point. I agree with it. This is the time right now. We said this a little bit last week. This is the point where these good teams right now are starting to round into form. Look, we had some concerns, not you and I, but I'll say collectively in between Tampa Bay and Colorado as far as some Stanley Cup hangover stuff. But you see, they're kind of getting out of it. The Toronto Maple Leafs, the same thing. They're 9-5-3. They're going 1-1 against the Devils right now with 17:34 in the second. These good teams are starting to find their way, and you have to be able to do that at some point. I don't want to be like the St. Louis Blues over the last few years. Yes, they won the Stanley Cup, but if you're having to go in between the Trudge on January and then run all these gauntlet games to try to get back in the playoffs, I don't think that's always feasible. Yes, good teams can get on a run. Yes, the Calgary Flames are a good team that can certainly do that. But that long homestand that you had at the Saddle Dome, that didn't end the way that Flames fans, certainly you or anyone else, wanted. So you got these road games against really good teams, and you got a couple good wins back to back. Let's see it continue.
Yep, absolutely. And to use a phrase you just threw out, I'll make a segue out of it, John. We'll talk about a gauntlet of games. And that gauntlet is just our NHL slate tonight. And there's one in particular that's standing out to me.
Me too.
The biggest or brightest highlight for most hockey fans, but the first time in their professional careers that Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau, teammates and line mates for many years with the Calgary Flames, the first time that those two are facing off as opponents, as the Montreal Canadiens are in Columbus tonight facing the Blue Jackets, where the Blue Jackets have a 2-0 lead early in the second. Also the Bruins, who we've mentioned a couple of times tonight. John and I covered them recently against the Flames. The Bruins are at home facing the Flyers. That's 0-0 at the end of the first period. But the Bruins will be starting the second on the power play. The Colorado Avalanche and the Hurricanes, the former of which we mentioned, we talked about the Avs just a few moments ago. They lead the Hurricanes in Carolina in the first intermission. They are up by a score of 1-0. The Devils and the Leafs are tied 1-1 a few minutes into the second. And John, this is a big one. I want to get your thoughts before we start again. The Dallas Stars manhandling the Florida Panthers in the Sunshine State. It's 4-0 heading into the break at the first intermission. Goals from Rope Hintz. We got Lundqvist on the board, Ben and Sagan. So I want to talk about big names. Dallas has basically all of their big names other than Robertson on the board. What do you think about that score, John? 4-zip.
So we talked about it a little bit last year, right? Everyone was saying, what's going on with Ben and Sagan? Why are they not contributing? Well, there you go. Ben has 7. I don't think Ben would have 7 goals all the way through like a February and March part of it from last season. So you already got the production that you needed. And here's the other thing, too. Wedgwood's already made 13 saves. So when they've needed to spell Jake Ottinger, again, just coming back from injury, he's done very well. And on the other side for Florida, I want to make this mention too. Sergei Bobrovsky, he's given up 4 goals, a 636 save percentage. I know it's not a microcosm of his whole season, but he's about an 860 save percentage right now for Sergei Bobrovsky, and it certainly looks like the Spencer Knight show, the 21-year-old goaltender. He's going to be that leader going forward, and maybe even sooner than later.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Excellent points across the board. And yeah, I mean, we got Rope hits with 7 goals. That's something you'd expect. But you're absolutely right. I keep going back to the points so far this year for that big name for the Stars. It's Jamie Benn who has 7. I mean, this kind of production, I don't know if his own teammates would have expected that.
No.
It looks like, I mean, this is the Jamie Benn of 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, and that certainly should put a scare in front of some of the fans there. Because, I mean, look, you went from Rick Bowness on the side, and then now you brought in former coach there from Vegas that was let go because now that Bruce Cassidy is on the Vegas side. So they brought in Peter DeBoer to try to strengthen that offense, and that was the same thing that the Stars needed because they only had offense from one line. If they get offense across multiple lines and you have Jake Ottinger, Stars could be in a really good position to get out of the first round.
Yeah, you're certainly right. And just thinking about the first round, and we won't even say getting out of the first round, a team that would love to be in any round this year in their second year of existence is the Seattle Kraken. I would be remiss as a native Washingtonian if I didn't bring up tonight's game in which the Rangers will be visiting Seattle at Climate Pledge Arena. 2 pretty evenly matched teams in terms of record, John. You have an 8-6-3 Rangers, 4th in the Metropolitan, versus an 8-5-3 Kraken, who are, yes, 3rd in the Pacific in a playoff spot. We don't have to get necessarily too in-depth. I think we're in our last commercial break before we get the puck drops for the second period. But, John, who do you like in that game? Do you think the Kraken can hold off New York at home, or do you think the boys in blue, well, I guess I should say red, white, and blue, because the Kraken will be wearing blue as well. So white, red, and blue, those visitors from the Big Apple. Do you think the Rangers are going to take them down, or is it the Kraken tonight?
I want to see who's in goal here for the Rangers, whether or not it's Halak or Shesterkin, because the Kraken have been actually able to play a good defensive system, which have allowed them to get to the 8-5-3. Like you said, they lost a couple games maybe that they should have gotten and things like that, but this is a good contest between both teams, and I'm not going to take the Seattle Kraken for granted. I think they have a puncher's chance tonight.
Yeah, I think so too, And from what I'm seeing, of course, this is not confirmed, but Shesterkin is expected to start with his .915 save percentage, and also expected on the other side, Martin Jones, who, you know what, by .02, technically has a better goals against average than Igor Shesterkin, 238 to 240. Each of those goaltenders with 1 shutout so far this year. Want to talk about Jamie Benn sort of resurrecting the career? Not that it was in shambles, but looking like some shades of his former self. I would say the same thing for Martin Jones. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, Martin Jones was maybe close, Cooper. I don't want to be hyperbolic. I'm not going to say out of the league, but he's fighting for a certain starter job, let alone he's going to be a consistent backup. And he's kind of coming out of nowhere, and he's played really well because the Kraken had a lot of goaltending injuries. And in the situation to have Martin Jones, they got to be very happy with what he's providing and probably overjoyed considering he's doing just as well as anybody.
Yeah, yep, agreed. Just simply, I will say I agree with that statement. And as we get closer to the second period here, I think I know where you're going to go with this, John. And again, we don't need to go at length on this one. Overall, did you like what you saw from Jacob Markstrom in that first period? He did have to make a couple of saves. To me, it looked like he answered. Of course, the one Stamkos goal was absolutely wired. But did you like what you saw from Jacob Markstrom there for the Flames?
No, I did. And I want to look at this upcoming schedule I see on Sportsnet. Florida, Philly, Pittsburgh, Washington, and Carolina upcoming here for the Flames. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight road games. Those are all high-quality teams. So, yeah, they're going to need Markstrom to continue that same kind of play. And the Calgary Flames are going to have to continue to try to fight their way through this game because the road stretch is not going to get any easier.
No, it certainly isn't. And you make a great point where I talked about Monahan and Gaudreau facing each other as opponents. Well, it's going to be the first time very soon that Matthew Tkachuk faces his former team as the Flames will be visiting Florida. And Matthew Tkachuk, just better than a point per game pace, 15 assists in 14 games, plus 5 goals. That gives him 20 points So he has picked up right where he left off, 100-point getter last season, along with his former teammate Johnny Gaudreau. So that's going to be a tough one. I'm going to have to close my eyes, I think, as the puck drops on that one. It's going to be tough to see Matthew Tkachuk in a Panthers jersey. But speaking of jerseys, your favorite jerseys in the NHL are back on your TV screen, John. You got those Tampa Bay Lightning Storm jerseys with the rain and lightning right in your face again. And gosh, those gray sort of silvery shoulder yokes, what are those supposed to be, clouds? It's an interesting one. But you know what? I will say one detail I like, John. The NHL logo is actually the retro logo with the orange striping, sort of from back in the day before they switched it to the current silver and black NHL shield. So a nice nod to the past right there.
You want to take the second period, take the third period? How do you want to do this?
You know what? You're on a roll. If you don't mind, you know what? Take us through the first half of this second period, and then when we get that TV timeout halfway through, whenever that is, maybe we can switch off then, and I'll carry us through the conclusion of the contest. What do you think?
All right, sounds good.
You got it.
So right now, this will be still a 1-0 score as we go into the second period. It's been a pretty even period on both sides, but again, as Cooper and I talked about, there's just certain things that have to be cleaned up in the defensive end, and we'll see what happens here for the Flames if they can do that right now. And so it's back one against Domestikov, third line side. So again, this should be an opportunity for Jonathan Huberdeau on the third line side to be able to actually get something going. As Flames fall down there with Trevor Lewis, there was body contact, and now Vlad Domestikov might have an opportunity, and that was knocked away with a dangerous slot pass as Mikhail Sergachev trying to keep this alive to Domestikov. He just bullets this one toward the right side faceoff dot as this gets back down the ice here for the Lightning. This pinball's off of the referee. Now this goes back to Markstrom as this gets dumped in deep and now picked up by the Flames. Flames will try to go left to right across your radio dial in this second period. Lightning right to left in that mix of uniform, whatever you want to call that, as this gets picked up now by the big cat, Lucic, off the backhand, but there was nobody there. And now a chance for the Lightning as they get this dumped down the ice with Mikhail Sergachev. This finds Noah Hannafin, Rasmus Anderson, and again the referee's got to jump out of the way as this is picked up by Kadri there, but only momentarily. Battle for the puck that got knocked out of the air as this gets too far there for Mangiapane, played in between the legs of Kadri, and now here's a chance for point. This is able to safely stick handle off the forehand. Shot into the traffic, knocked aside there by Markstrom, but the Lightning have this in the offensive end as one of the players takes a tumble, and now this is a 3-on-2 breakout here for the Flames. Off the drop pass, long shot, that one goes wanting, picked up now by Kadri. Kadri going to play this one here for Mangiapane. This is still kept in nicely on the blue line side for the Flames, but I felt like they squandered an opportunity there rather than just drive the net. They elected for a long wrist shot that got blocked.
Boy, John, this is maybe not the most professional way to respond to what I just saw from the Flames, but yuck.
Yeah.
That was not what I wanted to see there, although I will say now that we're a couple minutes into the second period, I believe that Flames line that was out there was at the very end of their shift. So Nazem Kadri, who had the shot attempt, basically blocked at the very last second. I would like to see some more. They were probably gassed, but my gosh, the Flames just had the 3-on-1 right there. You basically got nothing out of it. That's a tough one.
Yes. Now Point and Lindholm off the draw. Now this is won by Elias Lindholm. Adam Ruzicka has his shot go up and on a play. So I like that right off the draw there by Ruzicka.
Yeah, I think he had the right mentality right there. And boy, an interesting player for the Flames. That's someone that a lot of the Flames fans have been calling for to get some game time, some game action up with the big club. He's making just over $700,000 for this season and the next. And he may end up becoming a lineup staple for Daryl Sutter's Flames. And this faceoff is won by the Lightning in their own end. So I'll let John jump back in as we have just over 2 minutes gone. Excuse me, just under 2 minutes gone here in a second.
Yeah, and you're on the first line with a primetime opportunity right now, so you got to take it and run with it because you never know when you're going to get that again. Sergachev lost the puck as this is fluttered down the ice, picked up now by the defense here at Tampa. So John Cooper's squad can go ahead and take some changes on the D side if they want to, as the forwards are a little bit busy here on the forecheck right now. As this is picked up off the long outlet pass, here's Lindholm with an opportunity swallowed up by Vasilevsky.
Oh, swallowed up beautifully, and Lindholm tried to go kind of across Vasilevsky's body, looking to basically mimic Stamkos from earlier. He tried to squeak this one under the right elbow of the big cat as one of the defenders went down. Actually, I think that was Perdix for the Lightning. So one of the backup blue liners is in tonight due to injury. He's got a great red mustache, but didn't look great on that play. And Lindholm almost made it 1-1.
Yeah, we've seen a few players fall on the backhand side here for both teams, so that's got to get cleaned up a little bit, especially when you're falling against these good forwards. So Dubé gets kicked out of the draw, so it'll be Pierre-Over Bellemare against Blake Coleman, and Bellemare will win it clean. Again, the former Vegas Golden Knight now spending the last couple seasons here for Tampa, as this is kept in off the back skate. Coleman will try to keep this alive now near the right side red line, and Brett Ritchie's going to hustle back toward that right side dot, able to keep this alive. Still held in nicely by the back end of the Flames defense as Ritchie gets another forechecking. Cannon fights off a hit, plays this ahead here for Ritchie as he plays it in between his legs. Now Ritchie with the extra setup pass. This goes to Tanev in the high slot. Calgary just shooting this one to the screen as bodies continue to collide just after the puck was held.
Yeah, John, it's that time of the game where I'm going to mention it yet again. I think I touched on it once in the first period. I'm going to touch on it right now here early in the second. The Darryl Sutter-led Flames are a shoot-first team. That's what we've seen here as we get on the Valley side. We see some replays of Ruzicka getting a shot off. We see Kadri making a shot attempt on that partial 3-on-1. And then right there, a shot through traffic results in a deflection that's held by the big cat. And Vasilevsky, just like Markstrom, has come through basically every time necessary. Markstrom just letting in that one beautiful shot by Stamkos. So I was actually curious about this stat, John, and I'll hand it back to you. 20 faceoffs won by the Flames tonight, just 7 by the Lightning, but make it 8 right there as Tampa Bay takes over.
Yeah, we'll see if that ends up working out in the favor of Calgary is getting something going on offense, because you would think at some point with offensive zone draws that happens. The last 5 games for the Flames have all been decided by 1 goal, so there's a reason why Cooper Hopkins always has to hold his breath when we end up doing these broadcasts. So Perbix lost it. Slapshot goes in between one of the Flames, is about to escape and couldn't connect with the stick blade. Now this goes to the neutral zone. Here's a chance now for Stamkos. Stamkos going to work his way to the high slot, drop it to Sergachev into the screen. Nice block there by Lewis. He's banged up a little bit as he's slow to get up. As this is still with the Lightning right now near the right side dot. Now Stamkos holds in the high slot. Casual drop pass there for Ian Cole. He's just going to flutter this one toward the red line now, but the Lightning forecheck is able to keep this puck going right now. Huberdeau tries to play this one ahead. Good work there by Lewis and Ritchie just to make sure that that pass didn't go wanting. And this is picked up now off a long wrist shot there by Vasilevsky, and down the ice again. The Flames in their own end with 16 minutes left to go in the second, and Cooper Hopkins and I will be switching roles here momentarily. It's 3-on-2 off the spin there by Kadri. Nicely battled through a couple of stick lifts, but this goes back to the Lightning now. Hedman having some trouble as he's double teamed, but he's still able to get that pass out, and that's why you know he's as good of a defender as he is. Kucherov holding off the forehand, but it's offsides.
You know, I really have to give a tip of the cap to Trevor Lewis on that last shift. A really important shot block right there, and I think that went right off his right kneecap. Hopefully he's okay. He was slow to get up, as John mentioned, but he made it back to the bench in a pretty normal fashion. Didn't seem to be too slowed. But 2 of the Flames that I've really continued to like in this game, Andrew Mangiapane and Adam Ruzicka. Want to see if Lucic shows up again. He was all over it in the first period, but nowhere to be found here in the second.
We're going to do this draw again. 15:39 left to go in the second. It's 1-0 Tampa, courtesy of a Stamkos goal. Lucic's goal was waved offside with Kadri there, so it's 15 shots to 11 though for the Flames as a neutral zone loss. This is picked up now by the Tampa Bay Lightning. 15:30 left to go in this second frame. Mackenzie Weegar has to get this pass out here quickly as Tyler Toffoli. It gets turned over. Here's an opportunity. Hagel, and this one goes right to Markstrom as it falls to him effortlessly.
Yep, a little bit of an awkward squibber there, just kind of bouncing toward the crease, and he's able to cover up with the big trapper. So nothing doing there for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I will say I'm watching really my assessment from the first period continue into the second, where the Flames haven't allowed too much extended zone time to their opponent. The Tampa Bay Lightning have had to fight for every offensive opportunity, and right now the Flames are doing a good job at keeping them at bay. So let's see who can win this zone draw here in front of Markstrom.
So Elias Lindholm against Vladimir Mestikov, and are we going to have to do this again is the question. We've had to do this a lot. We're going to redo this draw.
It's John. It took a little longer this time, but now it's a John Hopkins broadcast because some weird, what's going to happen. Some weird stuff's going to happen, and now it seems to be the face-offs. We can't get a clean one, but the Flames actually win it here and start their breakout.
Good work there by Adam Ruzicka to be able to get some help on that long wrist shot. This one's played by Vasilevsky as Flames try to forecheck this one pretty quickly, and this goes back into the defensive end as Lightning have to be judicious as far as they're getting this puck out right now. This falls back to the Flames on their own end. Flames will try to gather here and go left to right across your radio dials. Mackenzie Weegar will get this one deep. Elias Lindholm is out there right now in the forecheck with Tyler Toffoli. Toffoli takes a spill there momentarily, but it goes off the embankment to Ross Colton. Colton will pick this up now as Weegar will collect, and Elias Lindholm. This goes back to Weegar. 14:35 left to go in the second. John on here with you on play-by-play, joined by Cooper Hopkins for this Thursday matinee. Long wrist shot gets gloved by Vasilevsky and held.
Yeah, so a very different game than for the Flames than their last contest. They scored 4 times in the first period of their 6-5 win over the Kings. They have yet to find the back of the net tonight, though. It's worth mentioning again that Milan Lucic did technically open scoring, though that score was wiped off the board by a very close offside call. So Stamkos, the only goal scorer tonight, 1 goal on 12 shots for Tampa Bay, no goals on 17 for the Flames. 14:32 to go here in the second.
Stamkos against Dubé on the draw, and Stammer wins this one clean as this goes in back to the defensive zone, picked up now by the Lightning momentarily as this was a little bit dangerous. Now down the office near Markstrom, there's a bunch of forechecking there picked up by the Lightning there in Belmar as he takes a tumble. It's still loose near the left side red line, and we'll see who's going to pick up this puck possession. 14:05 to go in the second. Flames need to work on getting this up, get their breakout, but there's Tanev. He made himself available as the Flames can get going here. Ritchie going to let one go. This gets blocked there momentarily by the defense there of Tampa. It's 17 shots to 12 in favor of the Flames, but it's 1-0 courtesy of Steven Stamkos. Flames will flutter this one down the neutral zone, almost picked up by Jonathan Huberdeau. And now here's a chance for Lewis. Lewis circling his way around the cage now. He's near the right side faceoff dot as Huberdeau tries to knock this ahead. Rasmus Anderson with the active stick check. This is in between Huberdeau right now, stuck in between his skate blades and picked up now by the Lightning defenders. As this is fluttered nicely ahead, it's 5 shots to 1 in favor of the Flames, so not much doing so far in this second period, but we would expect that to change as things move forward here. Maybe Calgary will be forced to press of late. But again, we still have a lot left to go in this contest, a 1-0 contest at that. So Mikhail Sergachev, the newly minted man, will pass this one across to in between one of the forwards, picked up now by Hagel, as that was a fortunate pickup, but it's still live. Another opportunity goes just wide as Colton had a chance for a ripper off the slap shot, and this
how
goes
did that
back.
opportunity come, John? It came off of a Flames turnover. There's another one.
And yes, it did. It's the same cycle repeating, and now maybe they'll get a chance to catch their breath as the Lightning have iced it.
Yeah, I didn't mean to step on you there. I thought play was going to continue, but that was Kadri who was in on a stick check attempt right there. He got twisted up. The Flames in their own end. It was Mackenzie Weegar and now Kadri. Then Zadorov, luckily, able to get his right skate back and block that shot attempt. That was a one-timer from the high slot that looked like it was labeled for the net, but Markstrom didn't even have to make a save. Big credit to Zadorov right there.
And this just feels, to your point, Cooper, like the next one that makes a mistake and gets their goal back in their net, this feels like it could be that kind of game. Whoever wins that's going to win this game.
Yep, absolutely. We could be looking at another 3-1 with an empty netter, just like we did against with the Flames and Bruins.
So Majapani off the face-off win there by Kadri. This is played off the boards. Now picked up now by Majapani. He's just going to whistle this around the kick plate. Rasmus Anderson going to try to be the first to get to it as he cancels off the hit there nicely between Brandon Hagel. Now Majapani still with the work. He's got it now. He centered a pass toward nobody as this went toward all the Lightning. And now here's a chance for the Lightning. Hustling is Ross Colton, dropped in the high slot. And that got blocked by Kadri and went up and out of play. Good defense there by Nazem.
Boy, oh boy, John Ott, how is it not 2-0 right now? That was an incredible opportunity. Braden Point skating backwards, sliding through the zone there, and I'm not sure who got a piece of it. Kadri was diving down to make a block, and Markstrom sliding left to right. That may have gone off of Markstrom's shoulder, or Point may have just whiffed on it and fired it high. But either way, that went up into the netting, and we get our commercial break here. If you're willing, maybe we swap spots here, and I'll pick up where you left off.
Absolutely.
Man, boy, what a game here. We have these two teams that were expected to be heavyweights in this season and had a little bit of pushback from other teams, said not on our watch, and got some wins that were probably unexpected. Tampa Bay looking for their 10th win of the season. The Flames trying to get to 18 points on the season and really can continue to roll here. They had success on the road last season, especially in the East, as was pointed out by former Tampa Bay Lightning man Blake Coleman, who's on the fourth line there for the Flames. He was quoted in a media interview as saying that the one line is a good one tonight for sure. Of course, he's talking about their game against the Kings. And then Coleman went on to say that he and his line want to contribute, and hopefully that will come to pass tonight. I'm sure number 20 for Calgary would love to get one, don't you think?
I would think so. Anybody would like to get one in this kind of game because, as we said before we handed this stuff over, this feels like the team that's going to make the next mistake is going to be costly and are going to end up winning the game. So I do envision a 3-1 or something like that end up happening at this point. I'm looking at the standings again as we're going through the commercial break. It was the LA Kings with a big win the other night against the Edmonton Oilers. Right now, it's the Oilers and the Flames in the two wildcard spots in the West with 18 points and 16 points respectively. The Flames will still have a couple games in hand.
Yep, and I think that the Flames are going to want to continue to build upon that spot and get out of a wild card spot. And interesting that their rivals to the north in Alberta are also having some relatively early season struggles. And as has been the case, that they're carried so much by the play of Draisaitl and McDavid. But we are going to continue here as action has resumed. 12 minutes to go here in the second. John, thanks for handing off as Vasilevsky handles back in the trapezoid and paddles that puck along. It's taken by the Lightning. They hold in their own zone until a crisp pass bounces off of the Lightning skate and down to Markstrom's left. Zadorov fighting for the puck right there. He is dragged down and appeals for a penalty. No hand in the air. That was a pretty blatant trick right there. No call. There's a stretch pass that misses Toffoli. He will skate down and negate the icing. Vasilevsky handles the puck as there are 11 minutes and 30 seconds to go, and the puck is picked up by Toffoli. He backhands it along. It's on Ruzicka's stick, and he fires it off the post. John, it should have been tied 1-1. Ruzicka having a great game right there, did everything but finish. So Toffoli had a difficult shift earlier in this game, had a great one there, set up the Flames' best scoring opportunity of the period, and they now hold possession and fire this one out into the neutral zone. It's one-on-one. Blake Coleman chasing down Philippe Myers. Coleman on a great forecheck right there, can't get possession, and the Lightning will chip this one all the way down. No icing as Noah Hannafin takes over, fires a nice long pass right there to the neutral zone, but the Lightning will take over. Forecheck right there by Brett Ritchie, who's had some timely goals this season, including the first goal of the year against the Colorado Avalanche. John and I had the joy of making that goal call, and now here comes Rasmus Andersson, the Swedish defender, on the right-hand shot. He carries this one through. Pass to the slot. It's loose. Vasilevsky can't find him, and it's kicked out. It's on Rasmus Andersson's stick again. There's a slapper loose in front, down on his knees. I can't see the number there. That looks to be Vladislav Nemesnikov. He clears it just to the corner now. The Flames doing a great job of maintaining some ozone time right here. So a sense of urgency from the Flames going left to right on your radio dial with just about 10 minutes to go here in the second period. And John, the Flames must have sensed that I took over the play-by-play call. There's a shot that goes under the blocker of Vasilevsky, and that one goes just wide. The Flames have to touch back up for the offside right there. So they will chase down in the trapezoid. But just to finish my thought, John, all of a sudden the action is picked up, and we are getting some offense both ways now as the Lightning carry in. I can't wait to get a break here so you can share your thoughts. And as always seems to be the case, I need to make a cup of tea. My vocal cords already being put to the test, as this one, I believe, is shot on and deflected into the net by Zadorov. So finally, I will take a deep breath. And John, what are you seeing here? This game just opened up in an instant.
Yes, it did. It was Ritchie that came close, and Ruzicka just hit the bar as we're going to the break with 9:43 left to go in the second stanza. You know what? You and I probably were waiting for something like this because I would say not low event between this first period for the most part, but this is the surge of play that we expected from two highly skilled teams. But here's the problem. Calgary's got a 19-13 shot advantage right now. I don't know who this favors right now. I would go along the lines of experience in there for Tampa, and I would expect Markstrom to be a little bit ready to be ready for war as far as making some of these saves.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and this may come down to which goaltender can stand taller. And when you're talking about Markstrom and the Big Cat, I mean, these are two of the best in the NHL. Certainly two top 10 goalies. You know, you could make an argument on any given night that they're top 5 goaltenders in the NHL. And, you know, to the Flames' credit, I'm leaning a little towards the Homer side of things right now. But he has technically been beaten a couple of times in this game. Kadri beat him above the right pad in the first period, as we mentioned multiple times. That's negated by an offside. That challenge that was won by John Cooper and his video team. So tip of the cap to them for being aware of the situation. But they're just in that last shift or two. Ruzicka beats Vasilevsky, hits the post, and then another one goes just wide under his blocker. So I'm not saying that Vasilevsky is looking shaky. Certainly not. He's been excellent tonight. But, John, you made the call of the evening. I'm going to say that whoever makes the next mistake really has a huge advantage in taking this game. And if it's the Flames that are able to capitalize and get the tie, I think that almost gives them enough momentum really to put themselves in a position to win, don't you?
Yeah, and Ruzicka, I just got the replay again as we're going back into. They could not come any closer. So we talked about some of the opportunities that need to be finished. Calgary wants to get another one of those. They cannot let any more of them slip away and get back on the scoreboard.
Yep, absolutely. And another nice replay right there. One of the Flames' backup defenders who is in the lineup tonight due to injury. Michael Stone out for the Flames. Oliver Shillington remains out for personal reasons with no timetable for return. So Dennis Gilbert has drawn in for his third game this evening and put a nice shot right there. And there's another shot by the Flames that goes wide over the glove side past Vasilevsky. So 9 minutes, 35 seconds to go here in the second. A huge collision at the blue line on the Flames side involving Zadorov. And I'm thinking that was Pat Maroon, who's known for his physicality. He and Zadorov really going toe-to-toe right there. And I'm surprised someone didn't get cut by a skate. The skates of Maroon got up into Zadorov's neck and face area, and then Backlund put someone on his hind parts. That's number 48, Nick Pervix, going down in the slot. So a ton of physicality, and John, we're getting a little bit of playoff action right here. It certainly feels like that. There's a shot from Rasmus Andersson that hits the lightning bolt on the front of the jersey of big number 88. Vasilevsky, another save made, 9 minutes exactly to go here in the second. And the action continues, my friend.
This last minute and a half, it was Maroon and Zadorov, and then one of the inadvertent Calgary players knocked down Zadorov. And then some good saves there by the Big Cat, as there's been a good push there in the last 30 seconds from the Flames.
Boy, I find it so interesting, John. A couple of opportunities in the first, now a couple in the second. Nikita Zadorov, about the last defender you think would be pushing forward in an offensive role. He's had some scoring opportunities here, the last one being blocked by the hockey pants of one of the Tampa Bay Lightning forwards. So this puck now is to the left of Markstrom in the far corner, being fought for there by several of the Flames and some Lightning folks as well. Now it's taken by the Lightning behind Markstrom in the trapezoid, now picked up by Calgary. Lightning couldn't hang on to it. So 8:30 to go here, 14 shots, Tampa Bay 20 for the Flames, 1-0 thanks to Steven Stamkos, the home team in the lead with those retro jerseys that John Ott is so fond of. He's going to write a blog about. So right now the Flames have to fight off a shot attempt right there. It actually went wide of Markstrom's nets. That one was the best scoring opportunity for Tampa Bay in about the last 5 or 6 minutes or so, and they hold possession right now near their own bench. And there's the slapper from the blue line by Hedman. Markstrom couldn't see it, inadvertently screened by his own man. I think Tanev got in his field of vision. Luckily for the Flames, that one goes wide of the right post. Now holding the puck on his backhand is Blake Coleman. He carries into the far corner. Stepping up right there is Ritchie on a backhand, gets a nice pass over. That pass goes to the slot, and it just misses Elias Lindholm. Actually make that Trevor Lewis wearing deuce on his back for the Flames. And now the Lightning take over. It's down in front. There's a backhand pass loose to Markstrom's right. and luckily the Flames are able to clear. Could be an icing here, and it will be, as Perbix is the first back. He's taking a deep breath. He had to really race back to get that icing, John, but with 7:32 to go, this has just been a shooting gallery over the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Cooper, I don't know how long this is going to be sustainable, considering it's a regular season game, but it is of utmost importance. But I absolutely love what this game has turned into. You want to get a taste of some playoff hockey here, Cooper Hopkins. It's been handed right in front of you since the takeoff.
Yep, absolutely. And Markstrom absolutely on his toes. I'm saying absolutely too many times, but that was an absolutely crucial save as the puck deflected off of Anderson's skate and was saved by the right pad and really the toe of Jacob Markstrom. So right now with 7:20 on the clock in the second period, there's a wrister from way out up top. That was Kucherov, I believe. Yes, indeed, it was Nikita Kucherov fired one, and I think we're going to get a penalty here, John. There's a stoppage in play. We got Hannafin yelling at the referees, Hagel yelling at the referees. Can you give us any idea what happened? I actually missed some of that action there.
Hagel thinks it might have been played with like a glove hand or something like that. He might have got a trip or something. I'm going to go ahead and look and see. He's going to the box. I got the replay now in front of me. He's battling with Hannafin, and he was just hooking and holding Noah Hannafin the whole time.
Yes, indeed. So, pardon to the listeners, excuse my inaccuracy there. I thought Noah Hannafin was going to the box as he was screaming even louder than Hagel at the referees. But then Hagel is going to crack open a BioSteel right there, the official energy drink of the NHL, and get a sip right there. Apparently, he was working extra hard and a little too hard. He was hooking Noah Hannafin out in front of Jacob Markstrom. He will sit for another Calgary power play. There have been no man advantages for Tampa Bay in this game, John. This is the second of the game. It's the second for the Flames. They have 2 minutes on this power play clock, and their ozone draw is 1. So the Flames now have possession, working that umbrella right there, and there's a shot on, as Daryl Sutter's Flames are normally doing. They are usually putting the puck on net if given the opportunity, and the playoff-style play is turning up, John. It's Kadri and Hedman. They've gone toe-to-toe a few times before, and Kadri and Hedman have to be separated by 2 referees.
I want to make sure I don't step on your toes there, but I had a little bit of reaction because when I see Hedman push Kadri, I know Kadri's not one to walk away from this, but that is a size mismatch, folks.
It certainly is. You can see that on the feed right there. Hedman's got about 7 inches and probably 40 pounds on Nazem Kadri, and Kadri took a little extra swing at Vasilevsky's glove right there. It was a pretty clear save. Hedman took exception to that one. So taking the face-off there for the Flames is Elias Lindholm. He unfortunately loses it, and that one is easily cleared by the Lightning. It's gloved down by Markstrom. He will take this puck with his paddle and leave it for Noah Hannafin, who is a fixture on the first power play unit of the Flames, and barely hanging off the puck right there is Nazem Kadri. Almost lost an edge, but luckily stays on his feet, and the Flames will hold possession. Though they have to retreat with 6:40 on the clock here and 1:25 to go in the power play. They're taking their time setting up this breakout as it's left for Toffoli. He's at the right point, tries to shovel it along, gives up the puck, and at the right half boards, unable to keep possession, where the Lightning collect and clear. So Markstrom out of his net takes the puck, and guess what? Leaves it for number 55, Noah Hannafin. He's on his forehand, the left-handed shot there, and leaves for Kadri, and Kadri cannot keep possession, so a bit of a messy power play here, John. Something that we're going to have to talk about, whether in this period or in the break. We saw a nice man advantage effort in the first period from the Flames. This is not that. The Flames can't get organized and are barely hanging on to possession right now and can't cycle the puck around. They try to center. They center it right to the Tampa Bay Lightning, who clear down with now 40 seconds to go. And now a great forecheck right there by Nick Paul. Nick Paul now freezing the puck with Rasmus Andersson, who needs some help. Now the Flames are having to defend in their own end while on the power play. Michael Backlund chips this one off the glass. He finally gets it free. And Rasmus Andersson feeds to Weegar. Weegar loses it in his skates. My goodness, John, just nothing happening here on this power play. Rasmus Andersson tries to skate through the neutral zone, chips it forward. This one's to Vasilevsky's right. There's a body on by one of the Flames down low, but no one's at the right point. Guess what? My gosh, John, this penalty is going to expire. Not a single shot on net, and really not even a scoring opportunity for Calgary. That's got to take some wind out of their sails as we now reach the 5-minute mark remaining here in the second period. There's a shot from distance, by Trevor Lewis, Brett Ritchie. That one not really testing Vasilevsky all that much. He turned it aside, but now it's bouncing out in front. Backhand attempt right there. Dubé was looking for it. He couldn't get a clean shot off. He turned around, was on his forehand, couldn't get a clean shot off again. So the Flames doing a nice job of at least making something out of nothing, but the Lightning are coming streaking back right there. There was Braden Point, the Calgary-born forward for Tampa Bay. He has looked excellent tonight, but only one man on the score sheet, and that is Steven Stamkos. It's a 1-0 game here. 23 shots Flames, 16 Tampa Bay. So the Flames doing a good job at limiting shots, but there have been some excellent attempts that technically haven't made it through to Markstrom. There's another shot by the Flames from distance that doesn't really threaten the big cat in his blue paint. And now Kucherov will break out through the neutral zone and drops off for that, John, is Braden Point. So surprising, yet again, not at all. Braden Point is looking great tonight, and the Lightning are looking likely to make it a 2-0 lead here if the Flames continue the style of play they showed on their power play. That was pretty disappointing, my friend. Wouldn't you agree?
I'd have to lump that in with the last, let's see if I'm being accurate, 3 minutes and 10 seconds of power play time between both of those. That was absolutely brutal.
Yeah, that was unfortunately, and listen, neither one of us ever really want to be hyperbolic. That was probably the worst power play effort I've seen from the Flames this year. Not really sure what else to say about it. They couldn't really get started, had to defend in their own zone. And I mean, listen, I've seen power plays where they've given up shorthanded goals, but actually made something of their offensive opportunity on the other end. It's not always a lost power play just because you give up a goal. Of course, that's the exact opposite thing that you want to happen. But just in terms of just team gelling, any offensive effort, anything leaning in their favor, nothing to speak of on that man advantage.
And that's what we talk about with getting some of those opportunities, although, again, it didn't look like anything because it couldn't get anything going. You have 2 power plays. Tampa doesn't have any. And what happens if Tampa's going to get one in the third period, let's say? How are they going to look? Because that could be the difference in this game.
Yes, I mean, listen, there's some positive general takeaways here. I think that, as I was mentioning on the shot clock, that the Flames are doing a good job at limiting Tampa Bay's opportunities. They're, right now averaging fewer than 10 shots per period. That's certainly what you want to see. It's pretty standard to see a team end up with 25 to 30 shots in a game. But the Flames are holding the Tampa Bay Lightning below that right now, which is absolutely what you need to do against this amount of skill, especially on the road. But you and I have both seen tonight that the Lightning have had a lot of opportunities that required blocks by the Flames forwards and defenders, and credit to them for getting those blocks, but Tampa Bay absolutely has looked dangerous in this period.
They're showing the Sportsnet side with Nazem Kadri lifting the cup. I absolutely love that. And again, against this former team, Colorado Avalanche playing against Tampa Bay Lightning. So see what's going on with Nazem Kadri if he can make a big impact in the third period when it's upcoming.
Yes, indeed. There are a number of players on the ice here who, of course, have lifted the cup in the prior years, and a lot of them are wearing that Storm jersey, that white jersey with the lightning and the rain. And right now, the Flames are just trying to get themselves a win and keep a small streak alive after a 7-game losing streak right here in the midst of this season. So the fourth line is back on for the Flames, and it looks like the third line is on here for Tampa Bay. And fighting for the puck is Michael Backlund along the far boards, and this one is shot on again from distance. It bounces out in front. I didn't even see where that was. I think it might have hit his shoulder, popped up in the air, and Vasilevsky finds it literally right in front of him, and he covers up for the stoppage.
Yeah, I think all of us did too. So this is going to sit near the left side red line, worked around the kick plate. This is going to be an inadvertent wrist shot that just gets bounced up in the air and then blocker side in hell before it ever hit Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah, great observation right there. And guess who again? It's Nikita Zadorov who actually got that shot on, and I'm not sure Vasilevsky saw it, but he did make a blocker save and couldn't find it as it fluttered above his head. It landed in front of his skates. He covers up, and now the Flames have an opportunity, but that opportunity goes wanting as the faceoff is won by Tampa Bay. They try to hold, and then the puck is lost. It's to Ruzicka. He will flutter one toward Vasilevsky, forces him to make a glove save right there with Elias Lindholm charging toward the net. So Ruzicka continues his solid play, and the Big Cat has to answer yet again.
I think Ruzicka has been pretty good in this contest. I haven't seen as much of Milan Lucic, but definitely Ruzicka has got his opportunities. He's taken them. He's not afraid to throw it on net and get some draws.
True, Lucic has faded to the background somewhat after a nice first period, as has Andrew Mangiapane, who had a solid first period. But Ruzicka, a good first and second period, though at this point, with 3:21 to go here in the middle stanza, the puck is played by a Flames high stick, and play is whistled down.
You know, Cooper, it makes me feel old when I see that 30th anniversary emblem there for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I can still remember playing on the Sega Genesis when Tampa was an expansion team.
What a world we live in, where we got, now the Vegas Golden Knights seem like a big veteran squad. We got the still infant Seattle Kraken, but yeah, 30 years for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Boy, what a legacy they have. I mean, personal feelings aside, they've always been a great rival, certainly since that 04 run for the Flames. But my goodness, they have earned this league's respect, no question about it. And they're currently fighting for the puck to Markstrom's left. They come away with it. Rasmus Andersson tries to wrap up a man. And right now, the Lightning are holding, and I think we're going to get a penalty. And speaking of hold, yes, it is a hold. Rasmus Andersson pretty blatantly holds his man to Markstrom's right, and he will be going to the box. John, this is just what you mentioned about a minute ago. The Lightning were bound to get an opportunity at some point, and Steven Stamkos stepped out from behind Markstrom, forced the penalty, and now it's going to be the Lightning's turn to have the man advantage.
I know there isn't a lot of analysis for me in this one word, but I'm just going to say why. Why did Anderson do that?
Yeah, no, we see the replay. Literally did not need to do that. There was no immediate threat. No one streaking in from the point. Stamkos is a danger, and of course he draws a lot of penalties every year as there's a puck that actually came off of a flame stick, a sort of like a shot on goal against his own team. I think that came off of Noah Hannafin's stick and was turned away by Markstrom. It's eventually cleared. Here comes Sergachev. He carries up and holds possession, now leaves, and the breakout begins for the Lightning. Now they're now in the O zone. It's held at the point and still at the blue line, held by the Lightning. Now to the half boards, stepping into Stamkos. He passes this one across. I thought it was in, John, but it may have gone wide. I'll have to get another look at it. There's a great shot attempt right there. Stamkos fakes the slapper. Down goes Tanev. It's back to the top of the circle. Yes, above the circles, and then over to Stamkos again. And this one goes wide, and there's another shot that goes off a body. Well, a lot of action right there, and the Lightning had a couple of chances to make it 2-zip, and somehow it's still 1-0.
I'm going to be sarcastic here, Cooper, and say that Calgary needs to take a look at what the Tampa Bay Lightning just did on their power play and emulate that. They didn't hit the puck and get it on the net, but they certainly looked dangerous and made men move.
Boy, you know what? I don't even think that's sarcasm, my friend. I think that's a legitimate, good piece of advice. The Tampa Bay Lightning looking great right there. They're going to keep their first unit out. And the Flames will counter Stamkos with Elias Lindholm in the face-off circle to Markstrom's left. 2:03 to go in the second, 1:15 remaining in Tampa Bay's power play. A beautifully clean face-off win for the home team. They have it at the half boards to Markstrom's left side. And here's a slapper from Stamkos. That one goes off of Meagher's skate, so another block for the Flames right there. Somehow the Lightning are still at 16 shots, so the opportunities continue to come, and there it finally has happened. It was bound to go into the net at some point, John. It's 2-0 Lightning, and it's Stamkos to Braden Point. The Calgary-born kid makes it 2-0 Tampa Bay Lightning.
I want to say that goal was finished off by Nikita Kucherov because that was slapped all the way across and kept in there nicely on the defensive side. And again, as you called it, and as we've seen it between this puck movement, that was absolutely terrific. And when you're leaving any one of those guys alone with a bullet, they're going to make you pay.
Yeah, and John, thank you for the correction right there. I saw that Braden Point's 21 flashed. I saw those numbers right as Kucherov let go of the shot, and that just locked into my brain. But you're indeed correct. That is number 86, Nikita Kucherov. Guess what, folks? He now has 24 points on the season. That is his 8th goal of the year. And I think, John, we're going to have to talk about it during the second break here. It was bound to happen. The Lightning were all over it in the latter portion of the second period. But I'll be all over this last 90 seconds as the Flames clear the puck all the way down. I think we're going to get an icing, but apparently it is waved off. So play continues here. 1 minute, 25 seconds to go in the second. And immediately the physicality ramps up. Former Lightning man Blake Coleman puts a check on me in the near corner on the Tampa Bay side. But the Lightning will carry out. And right there with a nice stick check are the Flames. I think that's Zadorov. Yes, it was. He's able to get it back to neutral ice. So on their 17th official shot of the game, Kucherov makes it 2-0. A beautiful cross-ice pass, and right from the face-off dot, Kucherov slaps it above the glove of Jacob Markstrom. So 55 seconds to go here. Nikita Zadorov, the former Colorado Avalanche man, holds right there, sends it over to Tanev. And Daryl Sutter certainly mixed up his defensive pairings tonight. Zadorov now with Tanev. And holding the puck is Milan Lucic. First time we've said his name in the run of play in quite a while. And there's a shot on from distance. They have typically come from distance when the Flames have gotten shot attempts. And the Big Cat makes another save, John. Wow, we've got some action going here, and it's going the way of the Tampa Bay Lightning, my friend.
I know it's a lot easier to say than actually do, but I thought Lucic, just for a second, if he would have got that puck rid of immediately and behind his skates, he probably would have had a one-timer set up right in front of the slot. It took just long enough for Vasilevsky to be able to recover there and make the save.
I think you're right. And there's a face-off win by Michael Backlund, but apparently he got that stick started too early. And so, as has been a theme throughout the night, we're going to do this face-off again. Backlund's going to be bounced out of the face-off circle. We'll see who takes it for the Flames now. It's number 10, Jonathan Huberdeau.
We'll see if Calgary can get anything going in this period right now. They really need to. They got to get this next goal.
Yeah, I think so, but a bad start right there. Unfortunately, Huberdeau unable to win the face-off as Stamkos does it all for his team, as he has for so many years. He wins that face-off cleanly. But Backlund steps in, nice forecheck right there. A pass attempt is not successful, but then off of a lightning skate, Toffoli gets the puck right back, fires on, and the Big Cat has to make a big left pad save, does so. Now with 15 seconds to go in the second, here comes goal scorer Nikita Kucherov, but way offside are the Tampa Bay Lightning. And so with 12.3, the faceoff will return to neutral ice.
So I know we talked about this in the first intermission. We can bleed this into the second. Who's going to respond? Well, you know the big boys responded for Tampa because you got goals from Stamkos and Kucherov.
Yep, and I just don't know, John. This is the question mark that remains for this Flames team. In the times when you need a big player to step up, Who will it be? We don't have an answer. We have not seen it yet this far into the season for the Flames, and now would be the time. You're playing a team that could make another deep Stanley Cup playoff run, but the end of the second has arrived, and these teams will head to the room, John. It's 2-0 Tampa Bay, thanks to not Braden Point, but Nikita Kucherov on a beautiful cross-ice pass on the man advantage. The Flames have had some opportunities, but the only shots that have been converted have been by the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, we have plenty to talk about during this break, my friend. But beautiful goal scoring right there by assistant captain Kucherov, and gets the taps on the helmet. Deservedly so. What a great power play they had as the period was closing out.
Yeah, we were saying that. I thought we both hit the nail on the head in the sense of who's going to get the next power play. It was Tampa, and they made it look all too easy. Look, we can throw this a multitude of ways. Good physicality there by Zadorov. Good at shot opportunities there by the Calgary Flames toward the beginning of it, trying to look physical, trying to surprise Vasilevsky, look for deflections, get some opportunities. But that penalty from Rasmus Andersson, I understand that Steven Stamkos is hard to cover sometimes, but he's behind the net. Nothing yet is dangerous there as he's still looking for a passing outlet. When you go ahead and give him a bear hug, and after you already had 2 power plays, as we said, I was trying not to be too hyperbolic about it, where 3 minutes of it didn't look very good, didn't even get a shot, and couldn't even get in the zone. Then you give Tampa an opportunity, and they finish it off so calculated. That's got to be a little disheartening. So I'm hoping, at least between all of us, if we go within this next 10 minutes, if Calgary doesn't get a goal within the next 10 minutes of this third period, I don't think there's going to be some kind of late push that's going to all of a sudden tie this game.
Yeah, we have not seen this version of the Calgary Flames be able to access that extra gear or go to the well or, pick an analogy. We just haven't seen them be able to do it. I mean, they've been able to put goals up. We saw that happen against the LA Kings, who are a team certainly worthy of respect. And as you pointed out, will probably make the playoffs this year, as they did last year. But then it just always feels like this Flames team, this iteration, this 2022-2023 Calgary Flames group, they're always hanging on. They push and push and push, and for whatever reason, whether it's just the straight fact that Jonathan Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk are no longer, of course, what was I going to say, Jonathan Huberdeau, but Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk are no longer on the ice for the Flames with that killer instinct. They had turned Elias Lindholm into a lethal goal scorer last year. Those pieces no longer part of the equation. Maybe it's that simple. Maybe it's just that top line being dismantled was enough to take some of this heart away from this Flames team. But I don't know, John. I don't know if and when. And if has to be thrown in there. I don't know if and when we're going to see them have the ability to dig deeper and break through. They have held teams and kept teams at bay. But the Flames really have never been able to step on the necks of their opponents, so to speak, and put away an opponent. They looked good against Colorado. They looked good against Carolina early on, but that was a very close game. And they hung on in the game that we covered against the Boston Bruins. But ultimately, the Boston Bruins just did what they needed to do. It wasn't flashy. They didn't win 7-1. It was a 3-1 win with an empty netter. But the Flames were on the wrong side of that, and it looks like they'll be on the wrong side of this tonight.
Yeah, and again, I'd say some good things about the LA Kings, and I mean it. I think they'll be a playoff team in the Pacific, but if you're expecting the Tampa Bay Lightning to go on a run of pace of play where they give up 3 or 4 goals, you're going to be left wanting because that's not happening.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and I think back to the comments by a number of Flames players who referenced the success the team had on the road last year. And, this is the beginning of a 6-game road swing for the Flames, and they're going to be far from home. They're going to be in the East, starting in Tampa Bay, going to visit the Panthers. I would think, John, that any team would be happy with probably 4 wins out of 6 right here. And they're unfortunately staring down an 0-1 start on this road trip, and then immediately you're chasing points on the road trip. And that's not a place you want to be in. And it just is a different version of what the Flames seem to be doing in game, where they end up chasing it. They hold and hang on. They look good for spurts, and then they have power plays like the one that we talked about, which are basically just unmitigated disasters, where nothing goes right, and they look like an AHL team. Might as well be the Calgary Wranglers, formerly the Stockton Heat, taking on the Lightning. They couldn't even get into the ozone. And those are the things that continue to baffle me, that frustrate fans, and we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled and see who and what changes the tide for the Flames. And there are seasons, unfortunately, and this might be a little doom and gloom. I'm not saying that I'm making a prediction here, but there are seasons where those trends don't change. Listen, there have to be teams in the middle and the bottom of the standings, and there are reasons for that those teams are in those positions. And unfortunately, the Flames right now are looking like a squad that is just going to be scrambling for a wild card position. Now, they're in one now, and this could be where they are all year.
So, look, it's one of those situations, if we go back through the annals of history, and I don't have all my numbers in front of me to back that up, but I've always heard that same narrative. And Cooper, you might be able to speak to this more than I can, where Calgary's had some years where they go ahead and win the division, and they had a year where they don't make the playoffs. They're on and off type of team. And in the midst of this 6-game road stand, I make a mention of a couple teams in the East, and why do I do so specifically? And the 6-7-3 Penguins and the 7-9-2 Capitals. You look at that on the record surface and say, well, Calgary should easily beat those teams. We're looking at this on the record surface now, Cooper, where I say Sidney Crosby, Malkin, and Letang are fighting for their season, and Alex Ovechkin is in his last really hurrah. Look, I know that team's beat up, but these guys are playing for their season now, and there is going to be some huge levels of desperation between those teams in the Eastern Conference. So on a surface level, you can't just write a checkmark box and say that's going to be a win.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And I think that your assessment of the Flames is pretty accurate. They're a team that typically, and this even goes back, I would say, decades, where, obviously not obviously, but to Flames fans, it is obvious, remembering teams from the mid to late 90s that were young, and they were trying to build a core at the time. Eventually that team would become the version of the Flames that went to multiple Stanley Cup playoffs, and in an 2004 was just inches away from winning the Stanley Cup. But the back and forth nature of the franchise is real, and after such success last year, and then continued expectations in spite of the roster turnover, I think that might have just been a bridge too far for the Flames. Now, there's a lot of games left to be played. I think that this team, and I think you would agree, John, listen, you're nothing short of an expert. You know what you're seeing. You know when a team is constructed in such a way that they have the capability to rattle off something like the Devils have done here with a 10-game win streak. Last year, the Flames had a 10-game win streak. I think even the year prior, they had an extended win streak like that as well, which usually is an excellent sign for a team. I forget the stat, and I'll credit SiriusXM with this, even though I'm not listing the stat specifically. But when a team has a 10-game win streak, it's something like 94% of the time that team makes the playoffs. So is it necessary for the Flames to rattle off that many wins in a row? Not at all. But if they keep putting themselves in positions like this, that might be what it takes for them to make the playoffs, and that is not a place you want to be.
No, and that's exactly what it is. I think I'm not too crazy to say that this 6-game road stand is going to ultimately kind of decide a little things early in the year, because these are quality opponents despite what the records say. We know what the Capitals and what the Penguins and everything else have brought. And you certainly see what Tampa Bay is able to bring tonight. Tampa, have they played their best game? No. But have they capitalized when they've had their opportunities? Fundamentally, in capital letters, yes, with an exclamation point, because that's what you have to do. Again, if Calgary has to continue to search for it, I would say over this next 15, 20 games, and they maybe play some sub-500 hockey, as you said, they could be in a situation where the wild card might be their only window to get in.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, there are we've talked about the concept of kind of moral victories, right? I mean, last year the Flames won the Pacific. Yeah, you get to hang a banner. It feels good. But, they felt an early exit at the hands of their bitter rival, the Edmonton Oilers. I don't think there's a hangover from that. And the makeup of this team is different enough that I don't think that's in the back of their minds. I don't believe this is a confidence issue. This may be a chemistry issue. Which is a little concerning for Flames fans considering the length of contract for players like Kadri and Huberdeau. But Kadri has been the better player, it has to be said, thus far in the season. And Huberdeau is really trying to find his place, as is Weegar, I would say. Mackenzie Weegar is not a name that we mention, even though he was a very exciting piece coming back to the Flames from the Panthers in those many trades that Brad Treliving made in the offseason. Now, John, let me ask you before we jump into third period action here, which I know we're just a few minutes away from. Let's look at the other side. Let's look at John Cooper's squad because they have a very interesting road ahead. I'm just going to rattle off their next 5 games after the Flames, and I'm curious what your thoughts are, and I'm curious if you think they'll have any success, because this is a bit of a tough stretch. So you're going to be, if you're the Lightning, you're at the Predators, then you're home to the Bruins and Blues, then you're at the Sabres, and again, you're at the Bruins. So you're playing some teams that certainly Boston needs no introduction this year. They are exceeding expectations. And then you have some other teams that have the capability to really push and fight for a win. What are you expecting from the Lightning in that next 5-game stretch?
So Boston, right, they've only lost a couple of games so far on the season, the best record in the league. St. Louis trying to go for 4 straight wins now. Buffalo really is the only team that I see that they should be able to knock the doors off of, because they've kind of fallen apart a little bit. And Nashville is one of those teams that's trying to climb their way out of it. They've been playing pretty well of late. So, yeah, I would say between the 5 games, this could be a situation where you go like 2-2-1 even for Tampa.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a mix of results there. And, listen, this if they hang on to this score or build upon it tonight against Calgary, they're going to have their 10th win of the year. They'll have 21 points on the season. And over the next 5 games, if you're 2-2-1, I mean, now you're really you're starting to establish yourself as, hey, who would want to go 5-0? But you have to believe the Bruins are going to take at least one of those games.
Yes.
I think you're right about the Sabres. Probably not going to give too much of a fight, but when you're at Nashville, that Nashville has the capability to put their foot down at home and take care of business. And then the Blues as well. This is the same thing. Now they have to come to Tampa to get a victory if that's what they're hoping to do. But it's going to be a very interesting stretch for for Tampa Bay, and the Calgary Flames looking in the face of a loss here. I think you said, John, that they need to score in the first half of the third period. I would argue they need to score in the first quarter of the third period. I think they have about a 5-minute window to get themselves back on track, because I think that's how much time it's going to take. You have to score early. The Flames, other than that outburst against the Kings in the first period a couple nights ago, they've shown that they need time to build their offense.
Yeah, I like the fact that you have the sense of urgency even greater than I do. I think the second goal probably puts that onus on it, but I absolutely agree with you. The first 5 minutes are paramount. If Calgary can go out there and score, I think they give themselves an opportunity. If Tampa gets another one, I'm going to write this game off.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we're in that position where we have to say it in those terms, but I think that you're right. And I think it's almost disingenuous if we were to say, it's still 50-50, Calgary's right in this. I mean, on the score sheet, yeah, it's only 2-0, and we know what people say about a 2-0 lead in hockey. It's the most tenuous of all leads. But against the Flames team that hasn't shown, I'll keep coming back to it, the ability to really kick it into another gear, this feels like a comfortable lead for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I'll leave it at that, and not to just leave you hanging out to dry like Markstrom was on that power play goal. If you have any other thoughts, or if you want to touch on some updates from scores around the league, the floor is yours, my friend.
So right now, the Preds have a huge lead over the Islanders. That's a big game there. 7-8-1 for the Preds. Islanders 11-6. They're up 4-1. Blues got a 3-0 lead over the Caps, so they'll go back to NHL 500 at 8-8. I'm just trying to highlight some of the big ones here. Panthers make a little bit of a comeback. It's after 2. It's 5-3. The Canadiens and Blue Jackets tied at 2. Cooper, what do you make of the Montreal Canadiens here quickly? Are they a team that's waiting for the NHL draft, or do you still think they can continue to fight on a little bit, live in the playoff hunt?
I think it's probably the former, but listen, these are competitors, and I love, in my little brain, I just love that a team that features Sean Monahan and a team that features Johnny Gaudreau. I think it's only fitting that in the third period they are tied 2-2. I would just selfishly love to see one of those two players get the game-winning goal. What an exciting tally that would be for either one of those guys. They were so fantastic for the Flames for so many years, but the Canadiens in particular, I think most of us have written them off, but you're going to see them win a few games that we probably don't expect them to. Ultimately, they'll probably get a high draft pick. Not a ton of question about that, but it's nice to see that they haven't, and we're still, hey, it's mid-November. I love that they haven't gone full tank yet, even if we see that become more of a factor later on.
Yeah, I think so too, and I'd also make that same argument, although they're starting to fall off a little bit on the Chicago Blackhawks, but I put them in the same category. You know where they're headed, but at least they're not making the season a complete write-off just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a game like the one that's underway in Columbus, and I think it's not a secret that Columbus probably going to have a relatively high draft pick as well. So it's not like they're going up against Vegas or Boston right now, but Montreal making a little noise, and I respect it. I like they're giving a little push.
We'll give you an update as we go along through our game when we get to the intermission or a stoppage and things like that, because I'm keeping my eye on the Devils and the Maple Leafs, trying to go for 11 in a row. They went from fire Lindy Chance, Cooper, to sorry Lindy Chance the other night.
Which I think is, I love a fan base that is willing to reevaluate. I think that not only is that a nice gesture, but I think it's the right one as well.
Yeah, so we'll see if that actually ends up happening, because I can go ahead and, just like Cooper said, and we talked about in the intermission as the players are going to be getting set to get back on the ice here. 10-game win streak for the Devils, going for 11. You get to that point, and I never thought I would say this, Cooper, but I don't think I'm going to say it right now, November 17, 2022 at 9:10 Eastern. Devils are a playoff team. I don't see them falling off.
Yep, I would not challenge that outlook. I think that they will be a solid playoff team. Now, listen, so if we're taking the if out of it, so we're gonna put it as a when. So when they get there, this will be some of the fun things that we can talk about as the season goes along, John. If you don't get picked up by, Bally Sports Midwest and start working like a pro out there in Detroit. It's going to be fun to talk about whether or not they can actually make some noise in the playoffs. I mean, regular season and playoff hockey, of course, are very, very different. But it's exciting to think about the Devils making a push here. And I'm curious, I'm gonna keep my eye on them. I was not expecting to as this season continues. I was not predicting that I would be paying a ton of attention to the New Jersey Devils, but here we are. We're giving them a lot of time, and they've earned it. And I want to see if they can keep this pace. I mean, it's going to be, of course, very difficult to keep a streak like this alive, but can they keep their level of play up throughout the entire season and then carry it into the playoffs? That's my thought.
Yeah, goaltending is the only concern there with Vitek Vanacek, because that back end is really good, and those forwards and Jack Hughes are absolutely terrific right now. We're getting very close to puck drop here. We'll see what you got for us here, Cooper, in the third. Are the Flames going to be able to make a 2-0 comeback? It's going to happen within the first 5 minutes. That's what Cooper Hopkins says. So let's keep that in mind and see how important this is going to be as Big Cat's getting ready to attend to his goal crease.
Yes, he is. We're getting some shots of Andrei Vasilevsky there, giving himself a little traction back in the crease. The ice is clean. It's fresh. It is Zamboni'd. And the Flames are out, going to move from right to left on your radio dial against the Tampa Bay Lightning in those alternate storm jerseys, moving left to right. And this third period faceoff is won by Calgary. So we're underway in the third. Just a few seconds elapsed here. Michael Backlund goes down momentarily, but the Flames will hold possession, and Mackenzie Weegar taps this one along to Jonathan Huberdeau, teammate here in Calgary, teammate as well over the past few seasons with Florida. So carrying in is Michael Backlund. He chips this one down. Trevor Lewis can't pick up, and the puck bounces out to the Lightning. They're going to try to break this one out, and a little bit of a mess right there, but they collect. And here they come. There's a shot from the circle, and that was to Markstrom's left. It didn't actually get to him. That's been a theme throughout the night. Flames doing a good job blocking shots throughout this game, but it is 2-0 Tampa Bay. 28 shots Calgary, 17 Flames, and 45 seconds have gone here in the third. Puck held in their own end by the Tampa Bay Lightning, and this one bounced around the kick plate. It's held there by Ian Cole. Ian Cole fires this one to the neutral zone, and the puck is passed across to Nikita Kucherov, who is the reason this game is 2-0, scored a beautiful one-timer on a pass from Stamkos that went over Markstrom's glove to make it 2-0. So the Flames have the puck right here, and Tyler Toffoli looks for Adam Ruzicka, who just puts his backside into, I think, Kucherov. So Ruzicka is showing that he's got some size and a little bit of fight in him right there. And the Flames will hold possession in the O-zone. A shot from a sharp angle. The Flames' first of the period by Rasmus Andersson is gloved down pretty routinely by Vasilevsky.
Good work there by Calgary to start this period, though. They didn't get a goal, but they'll get another offensive zone faceoff, and we use the good work there for Jonathan Huberdeau to go get a breakout and get some opportunities. So good start here. I saw the Ruzicka hit now as he got a piece of Kucherov and sent him flying. Good work.
He certainly did. Boy, John, there's no question about it. Adam Ruzicka, the young forward for Calgary, has really made an impression. And this is a team that it could have gone the other way. We saw some young Flames players in Nick DeSimone and Gilbert struggle against a team like the Bruins last game, but Ruzicka's looked excellent here in this contest. Get some shots off, nice passing. The puck I thought it was behind Markstrom as it was thrown in by the Lightning from the blue line, but it bounces without danger back behind the net and eventually squeaks through the neutral zone. Now here come the Lightning the other way, but they can't hang on to possession. It's taken there by Nikita Zadorov. He looks for the stretch pass. It bounces up to Nazem Kadri. Play is whistled, however, as the Flames are offside.
So I've seen Hedman able to casually backhand this one before the offside to get this one out of the ice. And good work there between both teams. And again, as you called there, Cooper, that was a deflection that was awfully close to Stamkos. Almost had a chance to make it 3-0.
Yep, that would have been the nail in the coffin, you think, for the Flames. And I'm going to stick by my prediction here. I'm going to say that Flames still have about 3 minutes to really turn the tides of this contest if they want to try to tie it and even think about getting the victory here in regulation. So a good start right there. The neutral zone faceoff is won by the Flames. Gilbert sends this one around the kick plate, and it's behind Vasilevsky. Maroon looking for the puck right there. He's pushed off it by Gilbert, and then Blake Coleman finds it. He gets this one all the way over to the right point, and the point pass attempt is unsuccessful. Puck bounces to neutral ice, and the pass is over to Flames young defenseman. That's Gilbert. So Gilbert continues his possession. He gets it over to Chris Tanev, who can't handle the pass. Has to go back behind in the trapezoid near Markstrom. And the puck trickles through the neutral zone and will be on Fleury's stick for Tampa Bay. He stick handles behind his goaltender and steps into neutral zone with some speed. That one is passed on right there, taken by Corey Perry. That one's down low. Corey Perry was looking for a teammate. I think that's Colton. Yes, Colton on the doorstep. No real shot attempt, but a bit of danger right there, and Markstrom has to cover.
That was a nice looking pass there by Corey Perry to find Ross Colton right on the doorstep, but he flubbed on it, and Markstrom was able to get a big glove on that and cover, and that was much needed.
Yes, indeed, boy. Corey Perry, that veteran smarts being displayed right there, just in one fell swoop. Gets that puck around behind Zadorov, found Colton, but he couldn't get it from between his skates. Otherwise, would have had right at the slot a clean shot at Markstrom. So it's still 2-0. Flames are behind here at Amalie Arena in Tampa Bay. Cooper Hopkins, your play-by-play man, currently along with John Ott on color. And the Flames are able to win a defensive zone draw right there. And Jonathan Huberdeau can't keep possession, but Nikita Zadorov, the blue liner from Calgary, will pick it up. Nice 45-degree angle pass right there, but Hedman tries to chip it back. The puck is now on Huberdeau's stick. He's at the half boards on the left side. That's to Vasilevsky's right. And there's a pass attempt to the high slot that sneaks past everyone. And Nikita Zadorov will have to chase this one down as the Flames will change on the fly. 16 minutes, 30 seconds to go here in the third period. And if my prediction is true, they've got about 90 seconds, the Flames do, to try to cut this lead in half. Tyler Toffoli, a nice bit of stick handling right there, gets through a couple of Lightning defenders and fires this one behind Vasilevsky. But the big cat comes out from behind his net and clears it down with the help of a teammate. Now the puck is all the way at the other side of the ice, where it's picked up by Tampa Bay, held at the blue line, looking for a deflection, and Markstrom is blasted down. This is going to be an obvious goaltender interference call, and it's number 86, Nikita Kucherov, who basically just put a forearm shiver into Jacob Markstrom and sent him down to the ice. John, this has got to be 2 on Kucherov, right?
Yeah, I don't know if the Ruzicka hit got Kucherov a little angry, but that was a full Nelson slam, a WWE move that knocked Markstrom on his heavily padded wallet.
Wow, yes, indeed. And this was Kucherov, certainly a set play. Kucherov kind of snuck behind everyone. He was in the far corner to Markstrom's right. The pass, sort of a shot pass, deliberately off of the end boards, and Kucherov couldn't keep his skates. I don't think it was fully deliberate, but boy, he put an elbow right into the sort of the collarbone area of Jacob Markstrom, and now the Flames will have their third power play of the night. John, just flip a coin. You think the Flames get one here, or are we going to see another power play like we did last period?
I'm going to flip a coin and say yes. I think they get one now. They got to realize that second power play was absolute trash. And there's really no other way to say it. Get some shots and do some work.
Absolutely. So they try to start this with a face-off win and eventually do get that win. The puck is on Hannifin's stick. From the right point, he has the puck once more. There's a one-timer attempt that's blocked. One of the Lightning is down. Seems to be potentially injured, but Hedman has it. Now it's behind Vasilevsky, and the goal is waved off. I thought that one was headed for the net. But I think we have a save here, John, 16 seconds into this power play. Did you see that sequence? I had trouble seeing where the puck was.
The lights were flashing everywhere, and Ian Cole got smoked off the one-timer side. I'm getting a look at it now as it looks like the puck might have got knocked up and out of play off of a Vasilevsky save. He's able to snag it there. He made about 3 saves. 2 of them bounced off the pads, and one in the glove hand as you got play live.
Oh my gosh, and we're getting the replay right there. This would be a 2-1 game if not for a flash of the leather by Vasilevsky. That was an incredible glove save. Huberdeau looked to the sky. He could not believe that he did not get that goal for the Flames as the puck is lost in Hannifin's skates. Now here come the Lightning the other way, but the Flames have numbers back. So the Lightning will possess momentarily before chipping a clear down to the near corner to Markstrom's left. Now Hannifin on this backhand gets this one out. Here comes Nazem Kadri with speed. Flames with a partial 3-on-2. They're on the man advantage. The pass across to Huberdeau, unsuccessful, but now it bounces to Elias Lindholm, and from distance, the Flames do get the goal on the power play. I think we have a deflection, and it's 2-1 thanks to Nazem Kadri.
I'm not sure if it's going to go to Lindholm or Kadri, but good work by the boys. Nonetheless, they created some significant opportunities, something that they haven't done over the last 3 minutes when they had power play time. And it was a lot of shots, Cooper. It was just puck possession, some shots, and some normal routine passes to open players, and good deflection out in front. Vasilevsky couldn't see it. We have a 2-1 hockey game.
A perfect screen by Nazem Kadri. I do think that Lindholm shot goes off with Kadri's sort of his hip, maybe the backside there, as it bounced under Vasilevsky's glove side. Although they are crediting right now Elias Lindholm with his 7th goal of the season, so we'll have to see how the official scorers put that one in the books. But for now, all that matters to Calgary is it's 2-1 on their 31st shot, and they finally get a power play goal, and just like that, it's 3-1 Tampa Bay. I didn't even have time to make the goal call for the Flames. And John, this is what has bitten Calgary all year. They immediately allow their opponent to come back. I'm not even sure how this puck made it in the net, but Markstrom certainly didn't see it. It was a shot from the right point that just floated past Markstrom's glove, and it's 3-1.
So right when I got the goal, there was a big ad for Sportsnet side, so I missed it, and it was just a long slap shot that went to the 5-hole of Markstrom from Myers. Are you kidding me? After all of that work that Calgary just did to score that goal cannot go in.
No, and that is going to be, if this is the outcome in this game, that will be the talking point of the contest. The Flames had momentum back in their favor for, no more than about 8 or 9 seconds. What a blow to the gut. That's going to be a tough one to come back from, certainly against a team like this on their home ice. So right now, 14 minutes, 45 seconds to go in the third. It was 2-0 coming into this period, then 2-1. Thanks to Elias Lindholm. Now a partial breakaway for Michael Backlund. Looks for the back pass right there. I got a little flustered, thought he was going to shoot, but he looked for a pass and didn't have anyone behind him. So the Flames seem to be flustered, and they got me flustered. I got to get myself settled. Now less than 14:30 to go in the third. It is 3-1, thanks to a Myers point shot that somehow found the back of the net. Now breaking in, and a puck sliding to the left of Vasilevsky, courtesy of Trevor Lewis. The Flames making a little bit of a push right here, which is what the Flames fans want to see. But again, it is 3-1 now, and there's a partial breakout. We're getting a lot of end-to-end action. Markstrom steps in front of his blue paint and slaps that puck to the far corner. Now the Flames coming with another partial 3-on-2. Here's Ruzicka. That is stick checked away from his blade. And here come the Lightning the other way on a 3-on-2. So again, John, just like in the second period, a lot of action. Backhand shot attempt by the Lightning goes up and over Markstrom's net. Flames try to carry out, but they can't hold the puck. So the Lightning have it. It's Kucherov. He's down in the near corner. He's getting battled there by Noah Hannafin, and Ruzicka will backhand this one to the other side of the ice. And the Flames will make a change at last. Ruzicka with another nice backhand touch right there. Here's a shot from Kadri, but that one is well wide of Vasilevsky. It's Kadri all by himself against 3 Lightning. Now the Flames have it at the left point. Here's Gilbert with a shot that bounces off the kick plate behind Vasilevsky. Flames doing a good job right here, trying to hold possession in the O-zone. Lucic is on the ice in red. Gilbert from the left point again. That one off of a skate blade. I think that one hit Nick Paul near Vasilevsky. No real danger for the Big Cat. There's a huge hit by Gilbert. The young defenseman makes his presence felt, but it's a 2-on-2 the other way, and a great stick check by Chris Tanev. A crucial stop right there. Could have been 4-1. And the Flames will keep it in their own end. Chris Tanev, you can't say enough. He's been a huge factor as a truly defensive defenseman for Calgary. What a fantastic get he was a couple seasons ago. And there's a pass right there that is paddled aside by Andrei Vasilevsky, and the Flames will hold. Nice job stepping in by Zadorov, who's been everywhere tonight. One of the hardest working Flames for sure, along with number 63, Adam Ruzicka. 12:22 to go in the third, 3-1. Tampa Bay, just 19 shots for the home squad. 32 for Calgary as Tampa Bay and those Storm unis tries to carry out of their own end. The neutral zone pass is missed, and a player blows a tire. But there are 3 players back for Tampa Bay. The cross-ice pass looking for Coleman is not connected. Now he's pushed by Philippe Myers, the goal scorer, making it 3-1. Now we're inside 12 minutes to go. Flames really have to score here if they want to try to push back in any major way. The physicality has been turned up. Nikita Zadorov pins his man against the board. That's Cole Koepke. And Zadorov fights, although he's at the end of his shift. You can see he's winded right now. Chips that one off of a leg. And, boy, I sound a little winded right now as well as the end-to-end action has picked up. Vasilevsky holds the puck in the trapezoid. Flames tried to pin it against the glass, couldn't do so. And here comes Tampa Bay from the red line at center ice. It's sent in by Myers. So in the far corner, the puck is left and now taken by Weegar. Mackenzie Weegar holds, and that pass is connected to Jonathan Huberdeau. Huberdeau just coasts up the right wing, tries to chip that one into Backlund. The Backlund stick is tied up. Could have been a penalty right there, none called. Backlund doesn't appeal for one, though, so apparently he thinks the play is clean as well. And right now, the puck is chipped along by Ian Cole. All the way down, no icing as the draw weight as is often said on Sportsnet 960 The Fan in Calgary. Draw weight was excellent, but now the Flames come back the other way. Toffoli looking for Ruzicka, couldn't connect. 10:45 on the clock here as the puck bounced all the way back to Toffoli. Now it's a 2-on-1 for the Flames. It's a pass across, and it's not connected. A diving defender made a stop at Elias Lindholm. Grimaces, a wry smile. That's a phrase we use too often when talking about Flames reactions, John. It's a wry smile from Elias Lindholm. He had a perfect opportunity to set up a teammate, but the puck is deflected into the net, and we head to the break.
That was a good pass ad from the backside by Hannafin to be able to create that opportunity, but as you said, the cross pass just was wide and broken up there by Tampa. I cannot get over how much of that Philippe Myers goal is going to be a killer, because right when Calgary scored to make it 2-1, it was just seconds later that goes right in the back of the net when it just seems like Calgary's fighting for anything right now, and Tampa's just not going to give something up.
No, they're not, but the Flames certainly did. And listen, this is irrelevant, and I by no means am I trying to place blame. I'm literally, as a fan and a commentator, trying to understand how that was possible. Now, we know the saying, good things happen when you put the puck on net, and that's about the best you could hope for from a player like Myers. I mean, his skates were on the blue line. He fires from the right point, not even a particularly hard shot. I literally don't know, John, if Markstrom just was not dialed in at that moment, potentially just simply looking elsewhere. He may have been looking at another player streaking in. He may have been trying to assess his defensive shape in front of him. But either way, he seemed surprised by the shot. I think the entire Flames team seemed surprised by the shot. I certainly was. Did you see anything that maybe I'm missing? Because I still can't believe that went in.
No, it was just a routine shot with no screen. I know it was right after the goal, so maybe the concentration was a little bit elsewhere for Markstrom. I'm getting a replay on it now. He could see it. It's wide open through the 5-hole, and it just goes right through.
Wow. Could have just been a lapse, and that's all it takes. I mean, you're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning. A momentary lapse is too long.
Yes.
Any moment where you lose that focus, that's what can happen. Great observation by you. I thought that puck floated under the glove, but you're right, it did go 5-hole. And that would tell me that Markstrom just wasn't set and was not expecting a shot. So, again, not trying to place blame as the action has resumed here, but that will be a moment that is certainly talked about in a lot of circles because this game had turned, if only for a second or two, and then the Flames give up goal number 3 to the Lightning. Speaking of which, the Lightning have the puck right now. Just over 10 minutes to go here in the third. Milan Lucic backhands this one along in his own end. That one is taken and eventually cleared out to neutral ice, but it's taken over by Tampa Bay. So it's fired along right now. It could be an icing, but no, it deflects off of a body, so icing is waved off. And it's backhanded by Markstrom, who's out behind his net. Kadri was looking for Andrew Mangiapane. First time we've said the bread man's name in a little while, but there he is on the ice with Lucic. Lucic battling against 2 Lightning right there, and Mangiapane had the puck on his stick, but a great job by, I think, Hedman to poke check that one away. Otherwise, Mangiapane on his forehand would have had a chance to rip one right at the big cat. So 9:40 left to go here in the period. Lewis's shot attempt is a weak one that slides past the stick side of Vasilevsky, but the Flames do a good job, as they have throughout the night. It hasn't been as consistent probably as Daryl Sutter would want, but the Flames have done a fairly good job of retaining possession in the O-zone. But here comes another shot attempt and a massive hit by Dennis Gilbert. He loses his stick, but he absolutely crushed one of the Lightning forwards. I think that was, my gosh, John, was that Belmar?
Belmar.
I think it's Belmar. defenseman for Calgary has put the body on in a major way here in the third. But guess what? The Lightning have the puck, and you can see it now. The Flames are turning on the physicality. They might already know this is a loss, but they are going to make the Lightning pay for it as a bouncing puck is gloved down, and Myers is getting chippy with former Lightning man Blake Coleman. Trevor Lewis in the mix as well. My gosh, John, the heat is on for sure.
Cooper, we're going to see a fight. I think we're going to see it before this game is over after that kind of hit. That was a really good hit there by Gilbert, and I was surprised maybe just after that as we had a little bit extracurricular that nothing was called and the play was still underway. But I'm going to say someone's going to drop the gloves within the next 6-7 minutes.
Yeah, I think so too. Dennis Gilbert with a couple of massive hits, and boy, that one will be replayed certainly. That's going to be in highlight packages in Flames video for years to come. That Gilbert hit against Belmar was a glass rattler. I mean, he put him on his you-know-what. And we're talking about Pierre Edouard Belmar. I mean, he is no slouch when it comes to physicality, but my gosh, he was dropped.
So let's talk about this really quickly as we're in the commercial break. We saw Gilbert last week getting a little bit of a debut against the Bruins. You see Gilbert a little bit now. I think he's been a little bit better this week. I think he's starting to find a little bit of form and find some role. He likes throwing the body, and I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, listen, there's a reason that his former pairing mate, Nick DeSimone, was sent back down to the AHL. He's back with the Calgary Wranglers. I mentioned this earlier. Again, they were the Stockton Heat for a number of years. They're in the Bay Area in California, but now Calgary has their farm team in the same city. So it makes it easy when you're at home. Just swap a jersey, jump in the lineup, and that's what Gilbert had to do because of an injury to Michael Stone. And he looked a little shaky in his first two games, but third time's a charm, as they say. This is his third contest of the season, and he seems to have settled in a bit. Like, listen, he's not going to be a huge driver of play. You don't expect him to go end-to-end like a Cale Makar. I mean, that's an unfair comparison right there, but my gosh, he must have been told by Daryl Sutter and the coaching staff, focus on your game, and I guess a big part of his game is laying the wood. He just has dropped a couple of Lightning here in this third period alone.
No, then that's exactly what you need right now in the sense of you want to fire your team up. Look, we know we need goals on the scoreboard here for Calgary to turn things around, but if you're looking for an engine to try to fire up your team, I think that's how you do that. That's going to get you some respect in the locker room.
Absolutely. And so a face-off to Vasilevsky's left is won eventually, I guess technically speaking, won by the Lightning, though pass is through the neutral zone, chipped up not far from the bottom of the scoreboard there. It's eventually taken by the Calgary Flames, and a shot on by Noah Hannafin. Just trying something right there, and I think play was whistled down, though it appeared that Vasilevsky was more interested in playing the puck, continuing the run of play right there. That was a bit of a confusing play, but the referees did blow play down. So still 3-1 here after a nice shot by Hannafin. 8:36 to go into the third.
Yeah, Big Cat played the puck quickly there. He wanted to continue the pace of play. The ref said, no, we're going to bring this back for an offensive zone draw for Calgary.
Yep, I think Big Cat knows that the fewer offensive zone draws that the Flames have, the better, and just wants to get his team out of the building tonight with a nice, quote-unquote, easy 3-1 win, though with hits like the ones Gilbert is laying, it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy on the body, that's for sure. The Flames can't worry too much about the physicality. We talked about that even all the way back in the first period. And they've got to focus on making some offensive gains here, John, which they do have a little bit of time to do. They have 8 minutes and 10 seconds to try to build something here. And they have 35 shots to Tampa Bay's 19. Now, this is going to become a bit of a math problem. The expected goals for, I mean, this is going to be all over the place. The advanced stats in the NHL really starting to take hold in today's game. I think we have an icing here. Yes, indeed, it will be too long of a stretch pass, so the faceoff will come near Markstrom. But, John, when you're only converting one goal on 35 shots, yeah, that's not a great sign.
Yeah, as we talk about wanting to get shots on goal for Daryl Sutter's squad, well, they consistently get shots, but there's not conversions for Calgary. With the massive goal totals, with the Kings and stuff that aside, it's just not consistent enough.
Yes, indeed. And unfortunately, consistency not on the side of Elias Lindholm right there. Excuse me. He loses a defensive zone draw, and it's held by the Lightning. Chipped back down to the near corner, and the Lightning start to cycle, though the pass attempt is a messy one. The Flames are trying to take over here, but the Lightning will hold on to it. So good job, although the puck does come out beyond the blue line. I think we're going to have an offside here. Yes, the puck is touched, so delayed offside is whistled down. And with 7:33 to go, no change, John. It's still 3-1. The Flames trying to battle back.
So let's say the result stays as it is. What do you want to see in the last 7:33 for the Flames, Cooper?
You know what I need to see? I need to see if they're going to invest in the kind of physicality we've seen in this third period, then you know what? Invest in it. Let me see a couple more hits like that. I want to see it clean, no penalties, and I'd love to see at least one more shift where essentially the entire shift is an sustained ozone presence for the Calgary Flames. It doesn't have to be multiple times. I'm not expecting a W here, and I think the Flames may realistically be believing that as well. But let's see that you can sustain zone time on a shift from start to finish, potentially even get one on the fly where you're shifting out. And then I want to see a little bit more of that body thrown if that's the way it's going to go. And now we have a penalty going against the Flames. So immediately, I need to let you make the predictions, my friend. Every time I make one, it goes the opposite way. So it's going to be Nikita Zadorov going for a holding right there. And he is debating with the referee. But, John, I have to agree. That was just like Rasmus Anderson, that's a pretty obvious call, don't you think?
Absolutely. And again, I'm getting a look there as he's holding Nick Paul. He's got his face up against the glass, still holding on to the face and the stick as well. Why? That's the second time I said that. There's no reason for it.
Yeah, the two very confusing penalties. I think Zadorov is trying to make the claim that maybe Nick Paul was holding him, but Paul had position. He was near the boards. Just a confusing play right there, and Zadorov gets frustrated, but that's the right call, unfortunately. So Tampa Bay with their second power play tonight. Now here comes Backlund. He gets a little floater that actually handcuffs Vasilevsky. He has to squeeze the blocker down near the leg pads, and luckily he makes a stop right there. That was kind of a knuckle puck that Big Cat did make the stop on. So 10 seconds have gone here, but the first shot of this power play actually goes to the penalty killers.
I know the shots say what they say there for Calgary as far as 36, but I think Vasilevsky's had a pretty easy night as he looks to try to finish it with 7 minutes left.
Yeah, absolutely. The raw numbers don't show, although there's a nice attempt right there. The Flames win the zone draw, and the shot comes in from the point. Elias Lindholm had a chance to deflect that one, but it went wide. But no, I'm just agreeing with you, John, that most of the Flame shots have come from, I wouldn't say considerable distance, but certainly haven't been from high danger areas. So now the Tampa Bay Lightning do possess in the O-zone with 30 seconds gone here in their power play, but a nice job by the Flames to momentarily gain possession, just long enough to roll the puck on edge all the way back down to the Tampa Bay end. 6 minutes, 20 seconds to go here in the contest, it would seem. I'd love some free hockey, but here comes Braden Point streaking through on the right wing, and it's going to be eventually picked up and backhanded, not all the way out by Blake Coleman. I thought that was a clear, but it's held at the point. Now Kucherov has the puck on his stick. He gets this one down low to Brandon Hagel. Hagel back to Kucherov. Kucherov doing a good job maintaining possession. There's a pass across and a tic-tac-toe. John, I thought it was in, but it was deflected off of a skate. And so no full shot attempt right there. And then Kucherov from the same spot, same play where he scored in the second period to make it 2-0. He sent that one high and wide on the blocker side. Now Kucherov gets another one. Markstrom is down. Did he get his puck? Excuse me, did he get the puck? Yes, he did. He was down almost completely out of the blue paint, John, but gets the trapper on the puck and plays whistle down.
That was a deadly looking deflection because Kucherov has so much time and space to let the shot go. Look, I understand it's a kill, but great save by Markstrom. It's too bad he couldn't make one of the routine one saves against Myers because that was terrific.
Yes, it was. My gosh, 90% of the net was wide open. Somehow he's able to reach across his body and cover up the puck with the trapper. Nice win right there by the Flames on the faceoff. But hey, guess what, John? We're going to do the faceoff one more time. That one whistled down, and we will see this faceoff yet again with 30 seconds exactly on the power play. Dubé loses the faceoff promptly, and now the Tampa Bay Lightning have it up at the blue line. Markstrom tracking the puck. Cycling are the Tampa Bay Lightning. Corey Perry down low. Paul on the ice as well as the Lightning go back and forth, holding possession. It goes to Paul. Now he goes back to the blue line. Passed across. Perry trying to screen Markstrom. There's a shot on, and it hits a body. Didn't actually get all the way to the Flames goaltender. Puck is back at neutral ice, and Dylan Dubé doing his best to forecheck, but the huge Victor Hedman will keep the diminutive Dubé off of him, and the Lightning hold possession for the moment, but now it's a 2-on-2. Here comes Huberdeau and Zadorov. Zadorov fired on. He's had multiple shots in this game, and that one bounced off the wrist of the Big Cat, so another save for Vasilevsky. There's a backhand pass to the blue line. It's to Uyghur. There's a slapper that bounces off of a skate blade. Lightning block right there. The Flames have had plenty of blocks tonight. They are trying to get out of the blocks like a sprinter here with just 4:40 to go in the third period and make a run on goal. Here comes Nazem Kadri from a sharp angle, tried to float it over Vasilevsky's shoulder, couldn't do so. Now Gilbert, who's got huge hits in this game, he tries to get it down low. Puck is now down low in the trapezoid. Huberdeau battling. There's Kadri. He backhands it off the glass. Back to Gilbert. Gilbert passes this one over to Toffoli. Toffoli's going to try to fire from distance. It bounces off the boards. Huberdeau kicks it to himself soccer style. Now Kadri on the backhand. Kadri at the near half boards. Goes to Gilbert again across the blue line. This one floated down to Toffoli. Toffoli finds, I believe that's Uyghur. Uyghur out in front. That one a pure kicking motion by Kadri. Kadri trying to kick the puck to his stick. And there's a lot going on between Huberdeau and one of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Huberdeau's helmet is off. Now Belmar's in there with Perry. John, we got to sort this out. There's a lot of action right there. Kadri almost scored. And there is a bunch of extracurricular. Huberdeau literally being dragged away from, I think, John, is that Hayden Fleury on the ice?
I think it might very well be, and he might also have a little bit of mark on his face there from Huberdeau because he did not let Hayden Fleury go. Good catch by you. I don't know how you caught that name, considering Huberdeau absolutely dropped him. And I love the effort you see there from Huberdeau on that side, especially for Nazem Kadri, because he was going for a backhanded goal as Vasilevsky was able to stop it, and we go to commercial break. That was a little bit of the outburst that we've wanted on the physicality. But I will go back to this, Cooper, as far as if I'm thinking about lines, and I know things continue to be shuffled. I know Huberdeau was moved down a little bit. Maybe with that, with Nazem Kadri and Jonathan Huberdeau, give them some more time on the same line because they look like the best Flames.
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? The theme of big names is one that I stick with. And even though they haven't found the back of the net tonight, I do credit their effort right now, if nothing else. And I think that Jonathan Huberdeau's frustrations are certainly boiling over. It happens to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think this could be any team. If the Flames were down 3-1, and certainly the way that they let it become a 3-1 game, I would love to see if that Myers goal doesn't go in, if the Flames potentially are able to tie this game. I think Huberdeau's thinking the same thing, so is Kadri. And, you know, they're skilled players that aren't afraid to mix it up. And, you know, we're not even 20 games into the season yet, and they're making it look like we're making a playoff push. This is what you need to see from your big players, and I love that the skill guys aren't afraid to throw down.
Yeah, and I also look at it on the other side for John Cooper's squad. I understand that this is nothing new, but the fact that they're trying to find their footing and they've seemed to recover nicely at 9-6-1, trying to go to 10-6-1 now. I think this is the exact kind of game that also wakes up Tampa Bay, and you're talking about that difficult road stand as we talk about in the last 5 games here for the Lightning. This is the kind of effort they're going to need because they're going to have to play Boston twice.
Yeah, challenges are coming, and it looks like as we come back to the coverage here on my side, it's the Valley Sports feed, it looks like Hayden Fleury is in the box. I'm not sure if there's anyone in for Calgary. There's a legitimate chance that Huberdeau might be in there, but boy, he and Fleury and Huberdeau, that is, really went after each other. I mean, that was a heated exchange. And then Belmar holds Richie, Kadri's in the mix, as we were talking about, Uyghur dragging bodies off, multiple referees. And I can only see one player in the sin bin right now, and I think that's Fleury for Tampa Bay.
I got offsetting here for Huberdeau and Fleury, just so we got everything squared away here. And I will say this for Huberdeau on that side, that's probably as most demonstrative as I've ever seen him. But I'm going to say that I actually like that part of it for Huberdeau. That was good.
Yep, I agree, and thank you for clarifying. Yeah, I didn't get the shot of Huberdeau taking a seat in the box. You must have had that before me, so. John Ott with another expert observation here in this contest with just about 4 minutes to go. It's John Ott and Cooper Hopkins on color and play-by-play respectively. So we're going to have some 4-on-4 action with 4:04 on the board and 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Yes, indeed. 21 shots for the Tampa Bay Lightning, leading 3-1. 39 shots for the Flames. Again, John and I talked about them converting those opportunities. there haven't been a lot of high danger chances for the Flames as this puck is not iced. It's taken all the way down by the Lightning, and Markstrom looks behind him as he was sprawled out. I thought it was 4-1, John, and another shot is right on. Didn't make it to Markstrom, but my gosh, the Lightning continued their high danger chances, the opposite of what we were just saying about the Flames. So few high danger chances for the visitors tonight, and Markstrom is furious. He's yelling at the referees about something. If you have any insight, let me know, because all I saw was the Lightning with another chance to score.
I'd be furious at my defense for yet another turnover. Markstrom, yes, he gave up a bad one there, but the last few, he's made some great saves to keep this 3-1 in all honesty.
Yes, indeed. And I think as I saw this replay, he had his glove hand raised up in the air. Typically what you see when a goalie is indicating an expectation of icing. Icing was waved off even though the Flames were nearest the puck when play continued. So 1:18 left to go in this 4-on-4. So extra ice here to work with. The Flames, it's looking like they're still interested in making a push, but maybe also just interested in pushing around the Tampa Bay Lightning from a physical aspect. So 3 minutes and 5 seconds to go here in this third period. And the Flames are forechecking as best they can. There's Mangiapane. He turns around Philippe Myers. And Myers, who is the goal scorer on that third tally for Tampa Bay, has to chip down, and it will be taken over by Nikita Zadorov. So Zadorov, who took a poor penalty earlier, he's back on the ice, and there's a shot across, and it goes under the glove of Vasilevsky, but wide. Boy, that's the story of the night. There's been some good chances for the Flames. Everything else has come from distance, and those best chances have just not been on. And Zadorov has stayed on the ice. Long shift for him here. Chips it over to Dubé. Dubé carries up. It's a 2-on-2, but the Lightning now have numbers back. They got their whole team back. 20 seconds to go on 4-on-4. They are holding, and will chip to the neutral zone. Forecheck there by Elias Lindholm. He's beaten promptly, and the pass goes across to Nikita Kucherov. Now the Lightning taking their time, which is understandable with the 2-goal cushion. 2 minutes and change to go here, and they will break out, but it's 2-on-3. And nice move by Braden Point right there. And the Calgary kid fires one on that's kicked aside by Markstrom. Another chance to extend the lead, but they don't convert right there, and we are back to 5-on-5 action as Fleury and Huberdeau have left the boxes. Now the Lightning with 4 men in to try to sneak this one down to the low slot, but it bounced off his skate. Toffoli, not the most fleet of foot, tries to dance into the O-zone, and he is dispossessed. The puck held momentarily by Ruzicki, who's had a great game, and I think the puck bounces into the players' bench with 1:37 to go.
We'll see if Markstrom comes back on the ice because he was just pulled for Daryl Sutter's squad. $1:37 left to go, and Calgary needs 2 to get the extra time.
Yes, indeed, and a great replay right there of Kucherov, sort of a give and go with Point. Point puts on the brakes, fires one past Rasmus Anderson, and I think Markstrom gets just a piece of that one. So yes, empty net for the Flames, who have 40 shots tonight, just 1 goal. 22 shots for Tampa Bay. They have 3 goals, and let me check the calculator. Yes, indeed. That means Tampa Bay is 1 minute and 37 seconds away from winning this contest at Amalie Arena. 1:37. John, what do you think? The timeout now has been called. The play has been called. If the Flames get one, do they even have a breath of life in this game, or are you calling it over?
I think I'm calling it over. I don't know if there's going to be enough time, but I know what I will do here on this line side. It's going to be Kadri and Huberdeau here for me. Whether or not that ends up working out to be the case, I'm putting all my best players out there right now and trying to get one.
Yep, I do see Toffoli. I do see Rasmus Anderson. They will man the right side of things for the Flames, and I'm going to try to get a look at the left side and the pivot for the Flames on this line. Let's take a peek. It's interesting, John. Shot attempts for the Flames, they are 4th in the NHL this year, but their record shows they haven't converted all of them, but they have 6 men on the ice right now. Toffoli is out there, Weegar out there. But this puck is sent all the way down, and the icing was waved off as the Lightning are the first to it. So I think Rasmus caught a shot or a stick up near the mouth, and he was reaching for his jaw. He looks to be a little slow right now, but he is still out there on this shift. 1:09 to go in the game. Elias Lindholm tries to pick up a loose puck. It's deflected at the neutral zone, in the neutral zone, I should say. Nazem Kadri tries to walk along the wall, and play is whistled down. Not sure if it was offside. Bit of a confusing back and forth right there, but there's 1:01 to go. And boy, the Lightning beat out that icing, John, and almost hit the empty netter to make it 4-1.
So they beat out the icing there with Kalor, and he got a couple shots on, and so Anderson gets hit in the mouth and also blocks a couple.
Yeah, that's right. He was down low with Elias Lindholm. I think Elias Lindholm may get credit for that block. So a ton of blocked shots tonight for the Flames, but they are none. There's really not making a difference tonight. It's 54 seconds to go. Markstrom's back in net, and he makes another huge save. He held it in his glove. Thought play was going to be whistled down. Now he tries to leave the net, but the turnover at neutral ice means Markstrom has to retreat. So it's messy, as it has been so many times for the Flames, and plays whistled down again. I mean, John, just so choppy. The Flames can't get anything going with any consistency. That's a theme we talked about. Luckily, Markstrom was in net as he made a beautiful glove save off of a wrister right there. And then Huberdeau goes the other way. No, that's just another angle. That was Hagel, who had a great attempt right there. And the leather flashed for Markstrom. But boy, when you're trying to go the other way, you don't want to have to see your goalie making huge stops. So here we are with 35 seconds to go. This game looks to be all but wrapped up. Markstrom comes out from the crease, has to get back down quickly as Rasmus Andersson has, shocker, trouble handling the puck. 25 seconds, Jonathan Huberdeau carries in. My gosh, they actually let play continue this time. Nazem Kadri couldn't find the backhand pass, and the Flames look to be out of luck here as Nikita Kucherov will walk in and gently tap the puck into the yawning goal, his second of the night. The Lightning's fourth of the evening, and your final, barring something else happening, will be 4-1, John. My gosh, the Flames just couldn't find anything in this last minute or so of play.
Cooper, I understand you're going for a goal, but why is Nikita Kucherov unchecked?
I don't know. My friend, I wish I had some answers. The Flames are searching for answers pretty frequently this year. I mean, he just walked from the neutral zone into the O-zone and tap the puck into an open net. I mean, it can't get easier than that. 0.5 seconds to go. Ninth goal of the season for Kucherov. And the Flames now win the faceoff at center ice. And Gilbert has the puck on his stick. He finds Coleman with 2 seconds to go. It's back into the Lightning end and on the stick of Myers, where the green lights go on, John. And that means it is a final. 24 shots for the Lightning, 4 goals scored, 40 shots for the visiting Calgary Flames, just 1 goal scored. It makes me think back to the first goal of the night, which was technically Milan Lucic's, though it was called back on a correct offside challenge. Who knows where this game would have gone if that goal stood, John, but ultimately it's 4-1 in favor of the Lightning. So the home squad, including Corey Perry, who's racing Vasilevsky right here. I mean, what a night for the Big Cat, just the 1 goal, John. As soon as the Lightning got that second tally when it was 2-0, you had to feel like that was going to be it for the Flames.
So I want to try to make sure an epic rant's not incoming on my side, but yeah, I mean, as soon as the second goal hits here for Cooper, or you said it perfectly, Cooper, the game's over at that point. You can take all these shot totals, and again, we have the actual team stats in front of us. It sounds like 40-24. If I ask you, Cooper, on the counterpoint, how many of those shots were trouble for Vasilevsky? 5, 6? I mean, that's...
Yeah, John.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. No, you're right. You're right. And I don't want to step on your toes. You continue your train of thought. But, 5, 6, I mean, we're talking maybe 2 really high danger chances per period. If you stretch that out and average it out over a game, is that enough? Especially against the Tampa Bay Lightning? Absolutely not.
No, I mean, you're looking for something this year to try to, move some things around. I understand, and you and I understand that Tampa is a really good team. Calgary is going to fall to 7-7-2, and that's going to put Tampa out at 10-6-1. But there's just not enough for the Flames. I always talk about how good I think the defensive personnel is. But yeah, when we talk about breakouts, I think it really gets tiring, Cooper, and I love doing these games with you, and we're going to continue to do so. But it really gets tiring every week, and we have to hit the same button is, why are the breakouts so sloppy? Why are there chances that only come from the blue line side, that there isn't a deflection, but maybe Nazem Kadri got one? Why is Nazem Kadri, even though he's like a -8 on the season now, but I don't put that all on Nazem Kadri, why is he the only one able to drive offense consistently for this team? When you have those wins like you did against Winnipeg and the LA Kings, those are good. Those are two good wins, but it also comes to a point where you got a multitude of goals to be able to get them. And then when you do get, 5, 6 goals, you might give up 4 goals on the other side, and it doesn't make you feel very good. But when you're playing against teams like Tampa, when you play against teams like Boston, just like we have the 3-1 and now the 4-1 loss, you're not going to be able to rely upon getting 5, 6 goals a game because those teams don't give up those goals. It's going to come to a point here, Cooper, when we get into the December portion of our schedule, time is going to run out eventually, and you need to be able to find some kind of offensive identity. And I know I said this a little bit toward last week, and I think my urgency is going to be stepped up a little bit. There might needing to be an epic trade coming around Christmas time for this team to get its head out of its what and get some more consistent chances. Whether it's Patrick Kane or whatever else, look, I understand the shot volume makes a lot of sense, but when you're not consistently testing the other goalie and you're not getting those high danger chances, maybe 2 or 3 of them were, it just doesn't matter what's on the shot board if you're not putting the goals in the net.
Yeah, listen, I won't call it a rant. That was a great train of thought right there, John. And I love it when you don't hold back. I mean, not saying that you ever do, but there are moments when you really let your feelings go, and you always back it up with some great observations. And you have such a simple but a very focused one when we talk about the fact that in not too long the calendar is going to flip over and it's going to be 2023. And where is this Calgary Flames team going to be? If they're going to continue to play this way, you know what? They're going to beat some of the bottom dweller teams, and they might, just because they do have skill in their roster, they might pull out a big victory against a playoff caliber competition. But I would imagine they're going to be right where they are. Excuse me, John. I imagine they'd be right where they are right now if things don't change in a major way, where they're just basically 500 and hanging around maybe a couple spots out of the wild card, trying to do the mental math. Okay, who do we need to lose and how many games do we need to win to flip-flop with this team or that team or the Oilers or the Jets? I mean, you name it. These are all hypotheticals. But I think you touched on something really important. I think that Brad Treliving has shown a willingness to make big, splashy moves. That might be what it takes. A player that perhaps Flames fans wouldn't expect to go out the door, a player perhaps even like Andrew Mangiapane, who many believed was going to take a major role in terms of point production and specifically goal scoring for the Flames, maybe finding a new home. And he had a fine game. I don't think he did anything wrong, so to speak. He was more noticeable in the first period. It didn't seem to be as much of a presence as the game continued. And by no means am I pulling him out as an example because, this performance against the Tampa Bay Lightning, all of a sudden I'm screaming, trade every player for absolutely not. And John, I think you know that. I'm just using him as an example, almost like a Sam Bennett. The Flames had Sam Bennett on their roster for so many years, and it was pretty clear that Sam needed a change of scenery. And he's been doing very well for multiple seasons now, and reunited with his former teammate in Matthew Tkachuk. He's been great for the Florida Panthers. And I wondered if a player like a Mangiapane, potentially a Dylan Dubé, who seems to be part of this core, John, might have to be shipped out in order to get some new blood in, shake things up, and basically try to just find the chemistry that has been lacking 16 games into this season for Calgary.
Look, from last week when we did our panic meter game, and I thought that was really well done. You went from an 8, and I was kind of offering between a 5, and I think we settled on a 6.5. I think this result was, even with the shot totals in favor of Calgary, I think I'm even going more toward a 7.5, 8 now. And I understand that the Western Conference is going to be a little bit more wide open, and whether or not it's wild card, you got to get in to get in. I don't care where they end up finishing. But right now, as far as getting some of these shot totals, and you said it perfectly, you can beat on some of these bottom feeder teams and do some things and get some nice goals. But if there's not finishing, and I know I kind of put that aside over the last week because it was Boston, and I get it. If there's not consistent finishing from this team, they're not going to go anywhere. They'd be lucky to get a wild card spot. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah, and great thought on your part to think back to our panic meter coverage. We'll call it our panic meter game, if you will. And sometimes games can be fun, sometimes games can be frustrating, and this was a frustrating game for the Flames and their fans. And I definitely tip my cap to you for thinking, okay, and it makes sense. Yeah, let's lean back toward that 8 out of 10, high panic level. I'm going to, as best I can with the last amount of grip strength that I have, I'm going to hang on to a thread of hope. And I'm going to say I'm still around that 6.5 number that we landed on. And here's why. I'm waiting, and maybe foolishly, I'm waiting to see if the Flames can take down the Florida Panthers. And here's the second layer of that. That is against a major, major factor in Flames' recent history, a player in Matthew Kucherov. One of 2 100-point scorers last year for the Flames, the first time they had a 100-point scorer, along with Johnny Gaudreau, since Theoren Fleury back in, I believe, 1996. So he was a major factor, was honest with the team. Hey, I'm not going to sign long-term here. He did it, quote-unquote, the right way, as opposed to Johnny Gaudreau, who made a decision late, made it clear that he was not going to re-sign with Calgary. I think most of that frustration is dissipated, but here's my point. Okay, you lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning at Amalie Arena 4-1. You had a little bit of bad luck, little unlucky with the Kadri offside on Lucic's goal. That was a great goal by Milan Lucic. That was kind of a sniper's mentality. Found the perfect spot, beat Vasilevsky relatively early in the game. Who knows what can happen? If Markstrom's dialed in, if somebody is checking Myers at the blue line at the right point when he floats a wrister toward the net, ultimately scoring to make it 3-1. Seconds after it became 2-1 with a Calgary goal, again, who knows where the game goes? You leave all that to the sideline, right? I need to see a more than 1-goal victory against the Florida Panthers. If that doesn't happen, if we go to overtime, lose that game, if it's another lead in the third period that's squandered like they have done against multiple teams this year, then that panic meter hits 8 and maybe breaks beyond that, because even though the Florida Panthers are a solid team and we expect them to make the playoffs, I need to see the Calgary Flames stand up to these tests. I can't just watch them beat teams like Winnipeg that, probably they have a shot at making the playoffs. I don't want to wait until the Flames play the Coyotes and the Sharks. I don't want to wait for those games to be 2 points for Calgary. It's got to be now. There has to be a sense of urgency. And you're right, John. If they can't prove that they can take care of business, then big changes are in order.
I think that was the same thing that I was alluding to again for the first on the side of the opposite part of the schedule there for the Wings. You have the Sharks and you have the Blue Jackets upcoming the rest of the week. You got to get the 4 points. And now, like you said, Cooper, in there with the Florida Panthers, it's a big-time show-me game as far as what the Flames are going to be able to do. It's disappointing that I can't cover that game for you on Saturday because I got some other things going on, but I won't be gone every single weekend. So I was glad we're able to circle this one on the calendar. And just personal note on the side for Saturday, I'm going to be covering some semi-pro hockey here. So that's just going to be for home games. So first assignment will be Saturday. Next will be 2 weeks after, and then it'll be a month after where I'll get like a couple Saturday and Sundays in a row back to back. So we'll see how that one goes, get a taste of the TV side, and be able to cover some games like that. My home, though, is with you and doing all of these games, so I'm very much looking forward to that, because if we weren't working together, if we didn't start on the Colorcast side, I don't think I'd have the same level of confidence, even though I know you and I both know what we're doing. It's nice to be able to work together as a team. So, that kind of give me the confidence going forward, and especially hopefully give confidence in this team, because when we get back into the Stanley Cup Finals, my TV side days and all that stuff will be over, and then we'll be able to go to that in the full swing during the Stanley Cup playoffs, I should say. But I'm looking forward to that next chapter starting the weekend, and I wish you good luck there for Florida on Saturday. You have to let me know how everything goes, because when we figure out our next assignment for next week, who knows where these teams will be in the standing, and we might have some panic on both of our ends.
Well, listen, my friend, I'm really proud of you and excited for this new chapter. And please, like I said when we opened the broadcast, I know that we're many miles apart, but if there's a way that I can tune in, I'm not sure if it's streaming online or if there's a way that, or even if the broadcast is recorded, you just let me know, because I got to see you in action. I'm really excited for you, and I'm glad we'll still have opportunities to do things like this. It would be too. The Flames are already hurting my heart enough, John. It would be too much to lose you completely for the hockey season. So I'm glad you're willing to stick with me, and we'll have some fun for sure. But absolutely, I guess I can say break a leg, right? It's like performance.
Yes.
So the old actor part of me is going to say break a leg and have a ton of fun. Just know how talented you are, my friend. I'm thrilled for you. That team's going to be very lucky to have you, and I'm sure it's not the only one that you'll be lending your skills to as we continue through the years here. So a big hearty handshake through the phone, my friend, and a pat on the back as well. And we'll talk soon and keep it going.
Yeah, I know. I will close with this. I know from a couple weeks ago when I did an assignment there with Patrick and we weren't able to link up. It was during a Kings game, and someone actually gave me something for Saginaw Spirit, which was OHL action there, Cooper. But there was no way that I could actually go over there as far as drive and live over there in Saginaw. But that's only a couple steps from the NHL big league part of it. I don't think he knew that I had cerebral palsy and he had some TV side and other things that I would have to do. But the fact that they think that our voices are worth a little bit here, Cooper, I know you said it before as far as college analysis and all that. We love to bring all this stuff to you, and it'd be nice to be able to continue all that. And I'm not going anywhere, but it's just nice to know that some people actually think that we're pretty good.
Hey, you know what? I'll take it. You certainly take it and run with that tomorrow. Jump into that broadcast with all the confidence in the world, and just don't big time him, John. Just don't let him know. Don't let him know that how skilled you are. You gotta just meet it out little by little, or else you're gonna overwhelm him. You're too good. So just take your time, be patient with folks as they realize that they're dealing with the John Ryan Ott, as I'm so lucky to be able to do week in and week out.
No, it's a lot of fun, man, and it's one of those situations, just like it is, where we don't get a lot of extra, let's say, player rosters, names, depth charts. So it's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm going to have to do on the fly, and we'll figure out exactly what kind of angles I'll be able to shoot at and call from, because it's not like having the TV in front of you with the computer where you get everything clear. So there'll be some things that I got to figure out. I'll let you know how everything goes, and we will talk again next week. And I'm so much looking forward to our next broadcast, Cooper, because again, I would give any kind of body part that we need to have multiple of, be able to work with you forever and actually get paid for it. So I will never forget working with you. That's my main love and passion, man. And I appreciate that, and I mean that wholeheartedly. We will talk soon.
Absolutely. The feeling's mutual, pal. Take a picture. Send me a picture from the press box, wherever you are for the game. I'll be thinking of you. Break a leg, and we'll connect again soon.
All right, man. Sounds good. Talk to you.